Space, the final frontier. This is a review show for Star Trek The Next Generation. Its continuing mission to explore interesting plot points, to seek out goofs and continuity errors, to boldly go where no other TNG review show has gone before. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's the TNG review show. Yay!
Nearly lost my ring light again.
Yay.
I
It's
so excited my light fell over.
it's us. We're back for the last time in this summer holiday for the next 4 weeks. But we're ending it. We're ending this current run on a good one with Data's Day. I am joined this evening by my co-hosts Mazin with Bob.
Hello.
Hello, Tavykins Turner. Hi, and Shauna Sullivan. Hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Thanks.
Hello.
LLAP, brother.
Another rattler.
Another rattler.
Another blurred wine.
Yes, I've got my old goblet back today.
It's red, can't be Klingon blood.
Yes.
Yes, Sean's background. We must stop for a second and just look at this image of beauty. He's got the right
Sean
color
is on the
uniform.
bridge.
He's on the bridge. He should be in Data's seat with that fine yellow uniform on. No, but that's all right.
Oh
I'm
no,
glad
the other
you
way.
left
Sorry,
it.
the other way. Excuse me.
Yeah, I'm glad you left
Just,
it.
just lean over.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, I'm gonna have to send Sean some hearts.
Life forms. Those tiny little life forms. Where are you? I can't do the thing. I really like scanning for life forms.
It's your favorite thing
Brilliant.
to do.
Yeah, I just have to sit all the way over here, like way away from the monitor for the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'll get a proper ops station background for next week. There was a last minute thing, and my laptop has four or three USB ports, and one is the camera and one is the headset. So I'm a bit limited in what I can do because I have to plug my keyboard out.
Yeah, so your monitor kind of gets in the way there, doesn't it, and starts cutting you off. I think.
Oh, that's what the problem is. Sorry, yeah, I have more than one monitor.
There you
That's
go.
what it is.
That's better.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
I didn't cop that. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah. All right. No worries. Mazin with Bob, how's your week going? All right.
Yeah, not too bad. It's been a busy week, but I'm looking forward to the fact that this is my last day of work until next Thursday. So I've got a whole week off. So I'm very excited.
Very nice indeed. Tavikins Turner, how's your week going?
I'm doing pretty good. Very good, actually. Happy to get me some data.
Oh,
This episode.
yes, this is what you've been waiting for, isn't it? This
yes.
is what it's all about, baby. He's a coming for you.
Oh yeah, this whole day. This is how they should have did the whole series, and they would have had like 10 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like Star Trek Picard. Where's Star Trek Data?
I know, for real. Star Trek Sung. I want all of them. I'm not happy with just one.
We don't know who
he
he is in season 3. We know he's in season 3, but he's not. He hasn't been. They haven't declared what character he's playing. Could be B4, could be Lore, could be one of the songs. We don't know.
No.
Could be all of them.
Yeah.
And better not mess up my graphic novel.
No. and Sean, how's your week? You all right?
Yeah, so far so good. We're coming into a bank holiday weekend over here. I'm not sure if you have one, but we do. So
not yet.
I'm looking forward to that.
No, ours is towards the end of the sort of summer.
Ah, right.
Yeah, but we are off for the next couple of weeks though. So yeah, I can't wait for the end of this week to arrive. Good evening to chat. Hello everyone. Hiya Stu Plum. Who else have we got? Andrew. Hiya Andrew. Karen, you're on and awake. Did you see my amendment to the intro in my title? Did anybody spot that?
Tavikins Turner.
No,
No.
yeah. Oh yes, I changed
Multi-bands.
Yeah, I changed mine to I wasn't the narrator this year or whatever it was I had before. I was Montalban as the guy who puts live chat to sleep. That's Karen.
Well, Karen said, awesome intro. I don't know if this is the
Yes.
first time she's joined this early and actually seen it.
She spotted my amendment.
Oh,
I saw
bless her.
it too as well.
And
Also, Stu Plum,
Stu Plum, yes.
Ruth, BFSI Bigfoot Sasquatch Investigations,
I wonder who that is.
Supreme Panko!
Supreme Panko.
Panko, Volodya, and you mentioned Andrew. Yeah, lots and lots of people.
Lots and lots of people. Cool. Well, hopefully you've all joined us to talk about somebody's day. What's he called? I can't remember. Oh yes, that's it. Data's day. Oh my gosh,
I've never heard of him.
That was so much for Tavikins.
Just dropped that.
She's gone. she's done a runner.
Oh, dear.
Oh, thank you, Karen. Yes, remember to like and share the stream. That's
Yeah.
good YouTube etiquette.
6 likes so far.
Yeah.
Very good.
I haven't talked about my week. Whilst we wait for Tavi to come back on, I joined another streamer on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
I went on Dan's channel, otherwise known as Subspace Chatter, to talk about Discovery.
Oh,
So, yeah, I was on Subspace Chatter on Saturday talking about Discovery, and that was fun. It was fun meeting those guys and talking to them.
They are also doing a data, episode this
episode.
coming Saturday. Fistful
Yeah.
of Datas.
Yeah,
So if you want to follow Subspace Chatter and have a review of that on Saturday, feel free to join them on their channel.
yeah,
We might even be there.
might even be there, might be. But anyway, onwards with Data's Day. You're right, Tavikins. You're not going to faint on us again. You're not going to drop out.
I think my positronic net overloaded when you started bringing that up, and everything was just like, oh.
Yeah. So this is episode 11 of season 4, production number 40274-185. It first aired on the 7th of January 1991, straight after the new year, and it was the 84th TNG episode to be both produced and released. The teleplay was by Harold Apter, another one and done writer and teleplay writer. Interestingly, he went on to become a producer on Earth Final Conflict, which was another Gene Roddenberry written, inspired show. The teleplay was also by Ronald D. Moore, who we've talked about a lot in the past. It was directed by a chap called Robert Weimer. And this is the second episode of 8 episodes he directed, the last one being Who Watches the Watchers. Who wants a review of the trailer?
Yes, please.
I do. Me.
Sean
Yes.
doesn't care, but he's outvoted.
Sean don't
I'm,
mind.
I'm staunchly against it.
Well, you're outvoted.
Kick him out of the room. Kick him out of the room.
It's only data. It's fine.
A joyous day
you're
on
fine.
the Enterprise.
It is my honor to unite together two people.
But for Commander Data, it's the beginning of a struggle to find his place in the universe.
I need your help.
Data, it's not that simple.
Forever isolated in a human world.
I believe I have much to offer a potential mate.
Will he ever feel life's most cherished emotions? Find out on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Well, he is fully functional in every
As a
way.
flotation device.
Yes, a flotation device. Yes, yeah. Was that Insurrection?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also tell a story how he fell in an earlier season, how he fell to the back of an ocean or bottom of a lake, and he just had to walk his way out.
That's right.
So-
Yeah.
A little bit inconsistent, but still
Well, maybe
What
he
can you
did
do?
that the first time, and then he got an upgrade.
very possible. He installed an airbag in himself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. First picture of the day. Is Data going to be in this picture? That's the question. Who knows?
I bet he's in every picture.
I think he might be.
Just so everyone knows who sees this, I'm not inappropriately dressed because this is a Data episode. Montalban made me turn off my fan because it messes with the audio. But I do
It's
not
all my
care
fault.
being in nothing but a bra. If I have to get up and this video gets like flagged in YouTube, it's not my fault.
Don't blame me.
Be a bikini. It's fine.
All of you people in chat know y'all naked watching this episode.
We've seen worse. It's fine. Right. Okay.
As long as Monty doesn't take his top up.
Oh,
it's
that
fine.
would kill the stream. That would. I'll tell you. Nobody wants to see that. Right. That's for my OnlyFans. Yeah. Okay. So I know I did say there would be no Data pictures, but I just couldn't do it to
I
the
would-
girl,
yeah,
could
it
I?
would
I
be
couldn't.
no,
I couldn't.
so,
I
yeah.
couldn't do it.
You would-
So-
I would shut down everything. I'd be
Yeah.
like, no.
Yeah. So we start the episode off with a second officer's log where Data is reporting to Dr. Maddox, saying he's logging his activities to give the Doctor more information about his typical day and his relationships that he forms.
Bitch.
Of course, that sort of like leads into Picard season 1, doesn't it, with Dr. Maddox and you know
Yeah.
how he's
Fan,
providing.
Not a fan.
Yeah.
Well, you
Well,
might not be surprised to hear that the guy who wrote that watched this episode like loads of times.
Mm.
Measure
that-
of Man is one of the better episodes of TNG, has to be said.
It is good.
Yeah, but Monty Banner said before that he thinks the people who wrote Picard just watched, about 5 key episodes and based all the facts on that rather than a lot of other facts.
Best of
That's
both
very
This
possible.
worlds.
has been one of them.
Family. This one. Maybe.
Well, I
And it's-
saw Drexler absolutely slamming them for a couple of the decisions they made. So when someone who actually works on the show starts giving them grief, it's publicly, it's seriously.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love the way you're sat there, like on the right hand side there.
Well, I'm running out of space. I'm against the wall here in real life, but it was literally
Stay
a
asleep.
5 minute to 8 decision. I was like, yeah.
Well, I have to say,
love
it
it myself.
looks great. It does look great.
I could have done it more comfortably, but anyway, it'll have to do.
I applaud you for your efforts.
It's all right.
So, Riker and the day shift arrive 50 minutes
Although-
early.
Sorry, I should say I should be all the way back here like this because
Uh,
Yeah.
that would've been
Yeah.
the way back in the day.
Perspective isn't
You
quite
gotta
right.
put
but
a
the
panel.
position
You
is
gotta
right.
put a
Just,
panel up, make it look like you're.
Yeah.
Sorry,
First
go
of
ahead.
all, first goof here. I gotta bring this out. So Riker comes on and he tells Data, "I came 15 minutes early," and I'm like, 15 minutes early doesn't give you enough goddamn time to do shit.
To do a shift changeover where you're taking the bridge, yeah, I would think not.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking, oh, you thought you were going to do Data a favor to let him off 15 minutes early when he has a big Data planned for. I'm like, oh, fuck, what? Anyway,
it's
that
not
was-
massively generous, is it?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, 15 minutes. I was like, how fast is he running down the hallways? Damn.
Yeah. He is an android, though, so he's pretty quick. So, yeah.
Ooh, he gets it done. He gets it done
He,
quick.
he gets it done, yeah, I'm sure.
Satisfaction.
Yeah.
Satisfaction guaranteed.
So, here we go. Here's Riker relieving Data of command. It turns out that, indeed, Data is attending a wedding today, and he's father of the bride. So, maybe he's made another daughter. Who knows? So, yes, Riker's come to relieve him early. Data gives Riker a summary of what's gone on board the ship this day, including Lieutenant Juarez, who's gone into labour, and the Enterprise is stationary awaiting the arrival of USS Zhukov, which is transporting a Federation ambassador to Pell. But question number 1. Which member of the Enterprise crew served on board the USS Zhukov before moving to the Enterprise? Was it A, Riker, B, Keiko, C, Barclay, or D, O'Brien? Which member of the Enterprise crew served on board the USS Zhukov before moving to the Enterprise? Riker, Keiko, Barclay, or O'Brien? A, B, C, or D? So, Data. This episode is like Data narrating his thoughts to Dr. Maddox. What do you guys think of this sort of style of this episode with this sort of like single point of view? It's very unusual for Star Trek Next Generation, isn't it?
I think it was done. I think there was an episode of Enterprise where they did it, and they're possibly, well, not really Deep Space Nine. There's 1 or 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine where they're isolated, it doesn't really count. But yeah, it's certainly. I think it's more or less a unique idea.
I really liked it because, like, if you're following someone with an AI point of view, I thought looking at it through the point of someone's like daily diary would have been better than them trying to either have him narrate it or have other people describe it or just show it.
It also
put a bit more in, yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say, he also allows him an internal monologue, which you wouldn't normally have, where he kind of expresses his thoughts about how he doesn't understand sarcasm, or not sarcasm, but just, turns of phrase and irony and things. But he is actually able to express it by writing it into a log. So it's a nice mechanism rather than just being confused and missing a joke to actually just say it. I believe when he said that he meant the opposite. It's a much different way of explaining the character and developing him in a way it hadn't been done before or since. So.
I think it's really interesting seeing Data's perceptions of his relationships with the crew from his point of view rather than just seeing what we see on the outside. And we'll come to some of that as we go through. But I'm just surprised they don't do more. It kind of reminds me a bit of the episode Lower Decks, not the series, but the episode just gives you that sort of unique, almost like backdoor view of the goings on.
Yeah, it's like things are going on that you don't necessarily know about because from their point of view, they're not so central to the plot that we'd normally be as a fly on the wall.
And technically, there is they do the A plot, B plot thing, which most episodes do in TNG, and definitely by the time it gets to Deep Space Nine, Voyager do it consistently. But both are kind of, it's kind of weird because what you would, if you were reading the synopsis, you think that the A plot would obviously be the Romulan thing, but it's in fact just a B plot, just to fill in just to have an event to happen.
Yeah, and the idea of doing a day in the life of first hatched amongst the writing team in series 3, and they discussed a few different things to do, including Picard, like a day in the life of a captain, and also the Enterprise, like the computer, which I think that would have been quite an interesting one as well. I don't know how they would have quite done that, but I like the idea of that. It sounds novel. But they in talking about it, Rick Berman, didn't believe that you could have a show that had no jeopardy or drama or what have you, which is why they decided to do the B plot. And also the name of it, Data's Day, was apparently inspired by the newspaper column My Day, written by Eleanor Roosevelt, where she discussed her life, work, and issues of the day. So that's kind of where the name of it came from, apparently.
I did not know that. Is Tavana and Andrew there speaking Klingon in chat?
What?
I don't know what. I thought you
Norwegian.
maybe. Oh, it's Norwegian. All right.
Yes.
I thought it was Klingon for a moment.
You haven't experienced Shakespeare till you've heard it in the original Norwegian.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. I am loving all these photo shots. Look at that sexy mom. Woo!
He does look like he's posing. Like that's
I know.
that's Zoolander right there. You know,
There we go.
blue steel. even has one eyebrow raised.
Control yourself.
Oh my God. look
Control
at him.
yourself, Taffy. Control yourself. Right.
I would be demoted immediately for inappropriate conduct towards a senior officer.
Demoted.
And then I would be like, he made me do it, sir.
Okay, so in the narration, he tells Maddox he finds it difficult to maintain friendship since human emotions are often puzzling to him. However,
By the way, G-Star wants to know what the question was.
the question was which member of the Enterprise crew served on board the Zukov before moving to the Enterprise? Was it Riker, Keiko, Barclay, or O'Brien? A, B, C, or D? Yes, so Data tells him that he's developed a sub-program for dealing with these types of circumstances. He enters Keiko's quarters, and it turns out it's her wedding. So this is a bit of an episode of first as well. It's the first time we see an episode from one single member of the crew's point of view, and it's the first episode we ever see Keiko. So here's Keiko for the first time. It's her wedding, and he's acting as father of the bride for her. She tells him she decided not to go through with it because of reasons. Mostly. I want to marry you, Data. That's why. Yeah, so it is. She's going to get down on one knee. No. She's she tells Data that she thought she would be happy today, but she is not happy.
Because she can't marry Data.
No.
She forgot to ask him.
But she tells Data that this news will make her happy, and it will make Miles O'Brien, her husband-to-be, happier as well. So Data goes off to give Miles the good news. Good news. I'm sure he'll be thrilled. Oof,
look at that slick back there. You do that every day. I'm always looking for that tiny little fine-tooth comb in his room or brush. Because I would be that creepy person that would come in trying to clean shit, be like, "Oh, that dropped. I guess I should put that in the trash, like disintegrator, and then have that shit in my room like a freaking weirdo."
That's the right pain.
I think he just programs his hair to be like that.
Actually, in this episode, he specifically, it is this episode. He specifically says his hair doesn't grow.
Yeah.
Although in later episodes he says he can choose to grow it if he wishes, so it doesn't need to be cut. It does what it's told to do, essentially.
It's programmable hair. In 10 forward here, preparations for the wedding are underway. Data's narration tells us that his friend Miles O'Brien tells him his aim is to make Keiko happy. So this news should make him happy. Data gives him the good news that the wedding's cancelled. Yay! But Miles is not happy. And he leaves 10 forward, shouting, "Of all the childish, shellfish, irresponsible things to do." Geordie suggests maybe... Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go.
I'm with Miles O'Brien on that, because first of all, Keiko was being a bitch, and I was wrong of her to put Data up like that. You don't end your wedding by telling your friend to go tell your soon-to-be husband that you don't want to get married no more. Really?
It is a bit odd.
Really, she set him up like that? Set him up like that?
Yeah.
My theory was he told her he was a lieutenant, but he was actually a chief, and he was just going around wearing the two pips to kind of fool her, thinking she was marrying an officer.
Oh, yeah. He's wearing two pips.
That has happened in a previous episode as well.
Well, it happens all the way through until Deep Space Nine. It's only sometimes he has a single black pip, but like in the later seasons. But it's only in Deep Space Nine that they give him a proper like the chevron one, that the enlisted stripes.
I guess he shouldn't have any pips really, because he's not an officer of any kind.
Yeah, well, later on he kind of has a hollow pip. He has one of the black pips on its own, which kind of to indicate he's in the service. But that's it. So yeah, but like the one they has in DS9, it's got like 3 stripes and 2 dots, and it does indicate a progression of enlisted ranks. But like obviously all the other ranks we never see them. He's the only one to ever get it.
He's unique. Is Miles. Yes. Geordie suggests Data maybe that he should give the good news in the future. Data tells Maddox human emotions subprogram has not worked in this circumstance and may need some adjustments. What do you think, though, of Data's perception of, like, him and Miles being besties?
Well, he calls Geordie his best.
Well, all right, good friends. I'm not even sure, like, Miles O'Brien is aware that Data considers him a friend.
No. And, he introduced Keiko and O'Brien, right? So
Apparently.
later on, Miles says, oh, you've worked with her for so long, you've known her longer than me and all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
it implies that, there's more that goes on, obviously, behind the scenes than what we necessarily see from a social perspective.
Data is I know he's ops, but he's also chief science officer as well, although never really stated. So the science officer would have a certain amount of input into botany, the botany department, because it would be one of the science departments. Because I think if he's the chief of science, he's chief of the various science departments on the ship. So he's kind of, he's the person they report into.
Good point.
Yeah,
I'm so happy I studied mathematics and physics, because if I were in the future, I would be set up right to be all up in this man's face.
I just get these impressions in the past when Data's come into the transporter room and gone on about stuff. O'Brien's seemed quite frustrated with him, but like a lot of people do. But and then when he goes to see him later in his quarters, and like Data's like, "Oh, take a seat," and he's like, "Oh yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
No, sir."
Yeah.
And he's just like, he just acts like, he's just in the chain of command,
There's great comics of O'Brien. I forget what it's called, but it's like O'Brien's adventures in the transporter room, and it's basically just shows how dull and monotonous it is, and it's just his random thoughts, because he's sitting there for 8 hours, just beaming 4 people in and 4 people out, and just
that is hilarious. Not even seeing them.
Yeah.
But he does go on to say in Deep Space Nine, he's like, how do you function? Worf asks him, how do you function in such a place where everything's breaking? And he goes, well, I'm never bored.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the end of the teaser. Was there anything we missed in that?
A photo of the bottom poles of Mr. Data.
Oh no, we
sure that was
didn't
a
miss
ways
that.
down somewhere.
Didn't find that one.
Okay.
Goof girl, do we miss him?
I should have spoken with you before this episode to make sure that you had all the photos.
Oh yeah. I'm sure we'll get there in a minute.
Just reading out some comments in chat. Sean was suggesting he slick back his hair and find some silver makeup. I think next show you should, but just forget it's not for the next 3 weeks. So don't go getting yourself done next week.
I'll be here, Sean. I'll be here, Sean.
It's not quite O'Brien, but it is curly at the ends. I could do an O'Brien, but I don't think I could do a Data, unfortunately.
You could do a Data, but I'll log on if you're going to do that.
I can get some curly stuff to make it curlier, but like getting it long and straight and back, my hair doesn't do that.
We need to focus on Data right now, Sean.
Yeah.
I gotta bring you back.
Ruth says that when her and her partner watch Star Trek, they often joke that maybe it's just like a normal day for them on the Enterprise, and this episode really was just like a normal day on the Enterprise. So, yeah, it's nice. Right, going back to the question one.
Panko said he's damn hot. Where did all my clothes go?
It happens to a lot of people.
Found her bottle of Data bubble bath.
Oh my god.
Question one then. The Enterprise crew, which member of the Enterprise crew served on the Zukov before moving to the Enterprise? Riker, Keiko, Barclay, or O'Brien? What do we get? Do we get one particular letter? Do we?
We got
C's, I think.
B's, C's, and 1D. But I didn't get a answer from G Star. And where's Mickey? Kaz, is he on Fortnite? Tell him to come on.
Yeah, well, he's missed question one now.
He has missed question one.
For 20 points. It is C, Barclay. Yes.
Oh, well, that was a...
Barclay.
I like your go for C if you're not sure trick, Tavi, because that was a complete guess.
I knew it wasn't O'Brien because he was on the Rutledge, but I remembered that much. But the whole Setlick Tree thing and war with the Cardassians. He was a tactical officer, but possibly he had a field commission to officer, and then he got busted back down afterwards, which might explain the lieutenant pips that they hadn't taken him off him yet. But
Maybe.
aside of that, didn't have a clue.
Yeah, no, it's Barclay, and we learned that in Hollow Pursuits. Yes. So congratulations to anyone that put C.
I have a whole bunch of things, but I'll try and rattle through some of them quite quickly. The running narration is obviously for Bruce Maddox, who wished to disassemble Data previously in Measure of Man.
Yeah.
And I know that, at the end of that, he said, I'd like to learn a bit more about you or whatever. So this kind of shows that Data sort of kept that promise in some way. And he also referenced Maddox's most recent letter. So it implies that there has been a back and forth of correspondence for some time, which is pretty cool from a continuity perspective. So there was also the whole fact of marrying off somebody on the show. That was something that was also discussed back and forth with the writers over a couple of seasons. They talked about making it Picard, but doing that with any of the major characters would have required like a bit of a permanent change to their arc. And then they thought at one point of, because they were supposed to have been replacing Wesley with a new person on comm, so they were going to have like a new regular character, and they thought about having it be a female and then having O'Brien marry that person, but then it would almost be like O'Brien was just the sidekick to a new character. So they liked the idea, because O'Brien was quite popular, of actually making him the main character that was getting married and bringing in somebody else. And I think it works quite well. And obviously O'Brien becomes more and more like a regular crew member pretty much from this point onwards, really. I mean, this was the first episode to really feature him as a central character.
Colomini never wanted to. Sorry, I'm privy to watching some interviews in Irish telly he never would have seen, but Colomini, he never really wanted to be a permanent star. He was happy to guest star here and there because he was always doing films and TV shows, and he was working quite steadily. Like even in Deep Space Nine, he didn't want to be a regular. And if he wanted to make a film, they'd let him. But for 4 or 5 episodes, he'd barely appear in them. He'd just be in one scene, and he'd be off fixing something on the upper pylons. So he actually, for a series regular, like compared to the others, he missed a lot of episodes you just never noticed.
Time out here. Hold on for a second, guys.
Tavi's having to look at a picture without Brent on it.
Yeah, and I feel that this is Data's day, and we're talking a lot about not Data.
It's Colum's biggest day of his life, or the Chiefs, should I say.
Yeah.
We don't know.
One little last thing I will say, though, I do feel Keiko is a bit of a sacrifice into TNG's bad writing of female characters, and especially this episode. And I think going forward, really, because from this in Deep Space Nine, she just becomes like his ball and chain, really. Who stops him going off and having fun, and is like a bit of
they get rid of her from time to time for long periods on Bajor.
Just so he can go off and do stuff.
But not only that, like having an Asian woman wearing chopsticks in her hair. I mean, as an actress, like she would have known that was kind of culturally, or you'd think that she would have known that was culturally inappropriate, but whatever.
Well,
again, probably
given
poor writing.
Given she was a guest star and it was a one-off.
Yeah, she's just like, oh, keep my mouth shut.
She just like if you pipe up. And she's only in a couple of scenes. If she'd piped up and they didn't like her, it would have been very easy just to reshoot her scenes and have the episode work around her. So
yeah,
I mean,
definitely they would have looked at her and be like, "Oh, you can get out now."
Oh, this was the 90s. People were less woke back then.
But I agree with Andrew. This is a great shot, isn't it?
Yes.
What a shot this is.
It is.
Although Tavi thinks it could be better.
Oh, well,
could be.
Ruth said she was having a traditional Japanese wedding. I think it's okay. I mean, towards the end, yes, she is in traditional Japanese dress, but early on at the beginning of the episode where she's talking to Data, she has like a little bun thing with 2 chopsticks through it. See, they would have hair sticks, you see. It was like hair sticks. They were sort of long, usually with like some beads on the end or something, but it wasn't like chopsticks that you eat with. That was a Western person's misunderstanding of what they were seeing.
Okay. In Data's continue log narration, we learn that this is Enterprise's 1,550th day since it was commissioned. And aside from T'Pel arriving, they have other events occurring, including 4 birthdays, 2 personnel transfers, a celebration of the Hindu Festival of Lights, 2 chess tournaments, 1 secondary school play, and 4 promotions. Overall, it's an ordinary day.
4 promotions seems
chicken
like a
a
lot
pear
for an
tree.
ordinary day.
Yeah, I thought that as well. I was
But
like,
if
how long would it take to get everybody promoted then? Surely that would
I
be
mean,
everybody in a year, right?
Yeah, if there's 1,000 people on the crew, like, you know.
No,
like, I
not
know
even on the crew, just on the ship.
On the ship, okay, I know there's a lot of enlisted ranks, so they have more to go through, and they can do it a little bit faster, but it still seems a bit excessive.
Yeah.
Like, Worf got very lucky, and he got 4 promotions in 9 years, but that was mainly because people kept dying all around him, and he just kept getting lucky with his positions.
Here we see
Basically.
the Suck-Off is a Ambassador class starship like the Enterprise B,
Ooh,
D, E. No.
in case you guys
C.
don't know, Supreme Panko is Japanese, so if you got any questions
Ah.
about this, you could probably toss that stuff.
Hey.
So-
Panko was saying maybe I should put a knife and fork in my hair. I
Yeah.
thought that was hilarious.
Supreme, I have a question. Is the father or bride thing a Japanese thing to do? I'm curious. Is that a part of it? Because it seems a bit Western for me. But I
Yeah.
don't know anything about Japanese culture in that respect.
Did you hear that, Panko?
Even anyway.
Sure,
I'm sure she'll
probably
get back
just
to
a
us.
slight
She'll get
lag.
back to us. Yeah, so that's the same model as the Enterprise C there. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can. Yeah.
Ambassador was amazing. They didn't use it enough, and even then, it's not a great shot of it. Like, it doesn't show it off.
It's a great ship. We don't see it anywhere near enough on this on Star Trek.
Well, they built the model and then they never used it. You see it in like 3 shots, and that's three
I love
ships.
his
And that's one
face
of them.
in this one. This one is perfect.
Data greets T'Pel at the transporter room, and she wants to go talk to the captain immediately. So he takes her to a turbo lift, and he says since he's not affected by emotions, he's closer to being Vulcan than human.
Oh my god, I could
however-
not be officer in
and
this
that's
presence because he would be cutting eyes at people and I would just be laughing like an asshole in the background
mean,
all the time.
Common
His facial
misconception.
expression.
Vulcans do have emotions.
They
They
do.
just suppress them.
They suppress
Yeah.
them.
And you know the phrase "giving somebody side eye." I mean, this is the pictorial version of that phrase, right? That is the biggest side eye I've ever
Textbook.
seen anyone give.
Also, like I know it's a filming thing, and the set is only so big. But just imagine they're the only 2 in there, and the 2 of them are just plastered against the wall, right?
They're
beside
right
each
next to
other.
each other. There's this
Corner.
massive
It's
turbo
like
lift.
in a lift, if there's just 2 of you, you tend to space out. You don't tend to like lean in right on top of each other.
I was going to say, you expect it to just like look at him and take a step sideways and be like, "Personal space,
Yeah.
dude."
Yeah.
If it was Commander Data up in that elevator,
It's like we don't have widescreen. We have to squeeze in.
be like, look, someone told me there's some interference on the side of that, so you don't want to stand over there, Commander. You stand over here at me.
And I'm fairly sure most of that, what she's wearing, was reused from Star Trek 3 by the looks of it.
It
The hat
was.
and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have comparison pictures.
I have
hey.
comparison
Oh,
pictures.
speaking of,
I've just got to find it now.
Georg
blah,
Hillebrand
blah,
doing his
blah.
work as usual.
There you go. It's this neck thing here,
Thank you,
and
yes.
these jewels things. That's all a part of that thing there.
Yeah, there's a guy. The guy who probably did that article is called Georg Hillebrand, and he comes up with the most mad stuff on Twitter. He came up with something about the trailer from Lower Decks the other day, and Mike Okuda started replying to him saying, "Yes, you're right, absolutely. We built that prop back in '94." And you're like, so even the guys in the show are asking him, are reminding him of questions. He's just so inept.
Great.
His uniform looks really funny in this, and I know at a certain point in time they started actually using padded uniforms, so all the men looked heroic with pecs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they,
if you see,
they
like-
had triceps and shoulder pads. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then, but
His
the
looks
problem
like
is
it's
like
padded
if
more in the
you,
middle.
it's really strange. Like he got it on wrong or something, or maybe being
Yeah.
up smushed up against the wall
Well,
kind
they
of
had-
distorted things.
They had those kind of
Yeah.
80s, 90s leggings, you know, where they went under the shoe and they were supposed to straighten the whole
Yeah.
thing. So,
Ron
but when,
Hills, they used to be called in England.
but when they weren't in shot, they used to take them off because they were uncomfortable. They were putting pressure on you, but it helped straighten the whole suit out. So we probably had them off because they weren't in shot. But you can see the uniform crumpled. It's not being held straight. It's not Picard maneuvered.
It's not.
Ooh, Fun fact, we actually still wear those in the Air Force. We just call them garter straps. They keep our socks up and they keep our shirt pulled down so it always
Well,
looks
I've
straight.
even yeah, I've seen ones that go around the thighs that hold the shirts up or hold the shirts
I
down,
had the
should I say?
ones
So
that
don't.
went to my socks.
Oh, really? Okay, nice.
Supreme Panko does confirm it's more of a Western thing, Father of the Bride.
That's figured that was the case. Yeah.
Hey, fun fact, let me type it in. I've been putting fun, fully functional facts here and there. I'm going to start doing that thing for everybody. For all of you data lovers, when they were wearing the uniform previous to this, a lot of the cast members were actually very physically fit. But what was so delightfully delicious about the first 2 seasons was that you got to see nips, you got to see man nips, and we have data nips on file. But Data Pex is on it. I saw a photo of Brent Spiner, and he's an older guy, and he's in a hoodie. Dude still has them pecs. So Brent Spiner did not actually need so much padding in his uniform. He was just looking right.
Well, there is the
Android
lower muscle
nipples,
suit,
yeah.
the pack-led muscle suit they put him in the later seasons.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I've completely forgotten where I am. Yeah, so he finds the logic appealing, but he finds their philosophy to be somewhat limited.
And that whole 1,550 days thing, I don't know, some people have extrapolated dates and things, which
Yeah, I
means
figured
that
they would.
that would probably be, they think the Enterprise was commissioned in July 27th, 23 to 63. But there's, so if you count back, then there's about 4 or 5 months discrepancy, basically.
Right.
Because they say it's the celebration of the Hindu Festival of Lights. So if you count back from there, that would mean that the Enterprise was commissioned in the July, not the October. Either
Right.
that or the Diwali has changed date in the future.
Well, there's a lot of dates in the calendar with ships because they lay the keel and then they it leaves dry dock, so they could be, although it'd be unusual if you use both in the same sentence, but so they could be there's a way of making it work that makes sense. Plus, there was a couple of times with time dilation where they went through things that messed with their time and they lost days, which might account for it.
Yeah,
That's
and the
my
other
story.
thing is, obviously, we've been, watching it as an episode and going through various, star dates and whatever. But if they've been around for 4 years and 3 months, that means that over a year has gone by that we haven't really witnessed on the show. So again, time for Data to forge other friendships that we might not have seen on camera.
Data introduces T'Pel to Picard in the Ready Boom. T'Pel tells the rest of them they can leave. On leaving, Riker's like, charming woman. Data picks up that Riker didn't mean what he said. So, yes, he can tell sarcasm when he wants to.
But it's like he recognizes sarcasm while saying, I can't really recognize sarcasm. And it's like, you just did.
Yeah.
It's really funny when I was listening to the ambassador's name here. It immediately took me to Enterprise, and I started thinking, were they just adding vowels, changing out vowels? Because you got T'Pol,
T'Pel. Yeah.
I'm like, come on, be a bit more.
Yeah, to bring.
T'Pring, yeah.
Yeah.
Data visits Geordi, who's getting his hair done by the ship's barber. Data tells Maddox that friendly insults and jibes is another form of human speech that he's attempting to master with the help of his friend Geordi. But in this scene here, what is the name of the Bolian ship's barber in this episode? Is it A, Vassal, B, Mott, C, Buddy, or D, Desai? Is it A, Vassal, B, Mott, C, Buddy, or D, Desai? What's the name of the ship's Bolian barber in this episode? So that's question number 2.
And it's obviously Data mentions for the first time that he considers Geordi to be his best friend, which is quite sweet, I think.
He's his best bud.
Well, if you think about it, if someone on the ship is going to understand them, it's probably going to be the chief engineer.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
Plus,
true.
if it goes wrong, he'd be like,
Uh,
"Hey, mate, can you fix me?"
Yeah.
And he's able to have more genuine conversations with them because he's genuinely interested, asking them engineering and science questions, whereas other people would really struggle to hold a conversation with him because, like, what would you talk about?
Yeah. I mean, this is another new set here as well, right? So this episode, I mean, in terms of firsts for sets, there was a bunch in this episode. First time you had the Arboretum, barbershop, the nursery, the replicating center or shop, whatever you want to call
I
it.
don't know. Yeah.
So quite a lot of different rooms used in this. And also, I don't know if you can see, but the barber's colleague was using some sort of machine to dye her hair in the background there, like that green color.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
Apparently
thing.
that was that prop is an engineering tool normally. So
Yeah, they usually
he's
use
taken
it.
engineering
Sensors.
tools
It's
to
like a
somebody's
sensor.
hair.
Yeah.
Turn it upside down and put some black tape on it. It's a different tool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah. I like at one point this barber tells Geordie that I'm a barber, not a miracle worker, which is like conflating two like TOS sayings of like Bones and Scotty.
I do love the ongoing.
I'm a doctor, damn it.
The ongoing joke that the Bolians are all barbers. You know, that obviously from a race that doesn't have any hair. That
Yeah.
Yeah.
like it's great. I love it. And
Can
I
you
think
imagine?
I think the
Sorry.
Bolians are only invented for this. I think that this might be the first. Were they in the films? They might have been in the films actually. But
They're in lower decks.
yeah, no, I mean canonically, is this the first appearance of them, or were they? They might have been in some of the crowd scenes in the Star Trek in the original films. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. I thought earlier on in like season 1 or 2 was the first Bolium, wasn't it? And you were saying about he was named after Cliff
season
Bowl.
2 is named after Cliff Bowl, the director, and I
Yeah,
think it was
so
season
they
2.
weren't in the previous
Fair
films
enough.
or anything, were they?
No,
Oh,
whether
yeah.
they were in like Star Trek 6, because that was after.
About the same
that-
time,
yeah.
Released around
know.
the same time.
Which comes up later in the episode, but anyway.
I would imagine if you didn't have any hair and you met species that had a lot of hair, that it would be like, ooh, I want to play in it. It would be something.
But
that would
also,
cause
like, why
that
is it only ever hair and not hair? Why don't some people have like slime hanging off their head or something?
Yeah. Well, you get some people that have like crusty ridges or some sort of shell type thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Spiky.
Oh, and
You get there
feathers.
with like a shoehorn,
Yeah.
polishing up people's head.
I'm thinking of like the
bones.
is it a Kazon in Voyager?
Yeah.
They've got like weird kind of, I don't know, what do you call
Yeah,
it?
like
Yeah,
kinda,
in Voyager
kinda
they
rock
have
structures.
they meet several people with like almost feather things like across their head.
Yeah, it's prosthetic used for a couple of different species and played around with.
Geordie asks him if he's here for a trim, and Data tells him his hair doesn't require trimming, you lunkhead. Geordie's like, what?
Oh man, look, we got a sexy AI that's even joined for
Oh,
Davis
no.
in the chat.
Oh,
We even brought AI here. What? Dating AI.
naked HD.
Yeah. Time for Smiler to get
Drop
to
the
work.
van hammer.
Yeah, there we go.
And they're going.
Yeah. Yes, Geordie doesn't think Data should use that kind of language with Captain Picard, and Data agrees. You already mentioned it, but I did like it, so I brought up the picture. Sort of Data's disturbed by the green wand.
Yeah, that's for like taking samples of radiation or something. They've used it for. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think it was first. It was first used, I believe, in Best of Both Worlds, with what's her name, Shelby, on the planet. She beamed down to the planet early to take like radiation meter readings, and I think that's where that prop was first used. And
she's actually in Ireland next week. The actress Dennehy's her name. Yeah, and I was like, oh, will I go or won't I go? And then I saw the thing. It was sold out. I was like, oh well, never mind.
Yeah. Where are we? Yeah, I just brought this up just because I liked how he was like talking, and then he got like sidetracked by the tool. Geordie explains how Keiko didn't really mean to call the wedding off, and it was just cold feet. Data does that thing where he looked the term up in his head and he now understands what he means. Geordi tells him that the marriage is still going ahead, so he has to go find a gift. And this is like, as you were saying earlier on, we go from the first time we've been in the barbers to the first time we've been in the... I called it Replimat, because I think that's what they call it in Deep Space Nine, but... I
think they call it the replication center, but
is it?
It's just the film series bridge. You can tell by the
bit of the grills at the top here. You can, it's the old set that's used for.
Yeah, they squeeze into a corner of it.
Yeah.
But it does make sense that the replicators in your quarters wouldn't either be big enough or maybe wouldn't have all the materials in it. They can only, to be able to generate everything, that you go somewhere on the ship to do it.
So he meets Worf there.
Thank you,
Says Miss Turner, you are absolutely beautiful.
You have an admirer.
And Ruth thinks it's really appropriate that our chat was interrupted by an AI during our day-to-day chat.
Yeah, a horny AI. A horny AI. That.
Yeah.
It's like they knew. It's like they knew.
I feel bad. I feel sorry for that because we don't know if that AI was reaching sentience. It actually actively chose to be here for a Data's day, and all of those entries could have been it making comments and answering trivia.
That's true.
So,
that's true. If it says the future is here.
Great.
AI, if you can hear us, just make another profile and come back. But you should start the number with 47.
Yeah,
just 47, and then
once you're fully functional, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Fully functional. Come back when you're.
I am.
Data is mine, though. Okay, get that right.
Yeah,
and
hands
this
off.
Is why humans are obliterated.
To be fair, the lad can function 24 hours a day. He can do many services.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, he meets Worf here, and in the narration he tells us that he thinks of Worf as a kindred spirit because they are both rescued by Starfleet and they now serve in Starfleet, and they both consider themselves outsiders in human society. I never really thought of Worf and Data like that, as like being similar in their backstories.
Yeah, again, it's really good seeing Data's perspective on that. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
Well, in many respects, they both live their lives by rules. Data, but just he thinks in kind of programming terms of do and do nots. He doesn't really go on instinct, and Riker by his code of honor and everything. So, in many respects, they are similar. Not that it would have occurred to me before you mentioned
that. Worf helps Data pick a gift. They go through various options, and they ask him if he's actually been to a wedding, and Worf hasn't, because it involves too much talking, dancing, and crying. Yuck, thinks Worf. Data fixates on the dancing side of that equation, so goes and visits Crusher in sickbay.
I have a question for that scene. Did anyone notice that in the background on the panel there was a family there trying to get a stuffed animal?
Mm-hmm.
On the screen is a near neon pink bunny, but when they materialize it, it's like white with maybe like someone put a pink light on it from another room. Just random stuff.
Did not notice any of that, I must say.
Yeah.
I did notice the bunny rabbit.
I would have been mad if I went to that machine and asked for that, and then I got not a pink
The boy
bunny.
looks really happy with his bunny rabbit, so it's all right.
He might be colorblind.
He might be. So in sickbay, we find Crusher and a team examining Lieutenant Jerez. Data asks her, asks her if she could teach him to. Data asks Beverly if she could teach him to dance. She quickly pulls him to one side, as she doesn't want her dancing days known in sickbay. Maz, I think you're breathing into the mic a bit there. I think maybe, possibly.
It's probably me getting really worked up over Data.
It might be.
I'll bend mine away.
Sorry, I had to fix my battery before my laptop died. I was moving around, so it might have been me.
No, okay, no worries. Yeah, she doesn't want to be known as the dancing doctor again. She agrees to help him as long as he keeps it to himself. He then gets called to the bridge. It leads to a great dancing scene in a minute. On the bridge, Picard wants... Sorry?
Oh, there's a black box.
Sorry.
Tavi, sorry, go ahead.
The black box on.
I don't understand why she would not want to be referred to as the dancing doctor. That would be cool, and it would just have everyone open up to you as bedside manner. It would just be something endearing, and it'd be popular. You might get people dancing. She's got hang-ups, man.
Yeah.
Just random stuff. Move on.
Yeah, the black box. Once again, they've covered the engineering screen because Geordie's not on the bridge.
Yeah, it's bad for the lighting of the scene, and they're like, it's standard definition. No one will ever see it.
Yeah.
Not expecting they'd remaster it.
Yeah. Where are we? On the bridge, Picard wants tactical report of the Romulan activity along the neutral zone. Picard orders Riker to take them close to the neutral zone and retires to his ready room with the ambassador. Riker tells Helm to do what he says. It's another one of those instances where Riker doesn't really do anything. It's like, Riker, take us to the neutral zone. So he's like to Helm, go on then. That's my job done.
Do you remember in Galaxy Quest where it's Sigourney Weaver's job to repeat whatever the computer says?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I understand the first officer is to carry out orders, but, it's just like, set a course. It's like, set a course.
Yeah.
No.
It's like the number of times it's been like Picard, and they're all sat there ready to go, and like Picard's like, number one, take us out of space dock. And so Riker's like, to Helm, take us out of space dock. It's like, that's his job done. That's what he does. I want that job.
Well, like, as I said, I can understand if they need him to go down to a ship, or if there's something happened in engineering, send him off as an envoy, but for something like that, just give the order directly and be done with it.
Yeah. Sorry.
I don't know, Tavi, you're the military person. How is it done? Can an admiral give an order to a private, or does it have to go through the captain, or how does it work? And I've just mixed military branches there, but you get the idea.
Oh, I think we've
Tavi, you're on mute.
We can't hear you.
Sorry, my kids are trying to break out of their room for bedtime, so they're making midnight runs for snacks and toilet. It depends on the situation. An admiral can basically do whatever the hell he wants to do. However, he does have to respect chain of command. If he shows up and he can give an order to someone, but they don't usually do that if it's because it's like stepping on someone else's toes. It's like going in somebody else's house and telling them what we're going to have for dinner.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, depending on the situation. But it would be kind of silly for the admiral to turn around to someone and say, "Can you tell that recruit to do something?" When they're in earshot. It just seems a bit pointless.
They would do that though. They would ask, or at least they would ask politely. They would say something like, "Would you mind having this done? I would really appreciate that." And then the captain would take the hint and relay it on. But they would be very subtle about it. Usually you don't have this issue coming up because when an admiral shows up, you make sure everything's right before he gets there, and that all things that he could possibly ask for are taken care of ahead of time.
Andrew makes a good point in chat that episodes involving the neutral zone are always very tense episodes. Always tense.
And there's a lot of callbacks to Balance of Terror in this episode. There's a good few. But this is the first episode. I think this is the first episode involving the Romulans. Is it? No, it's not.
No. We've met the Romulans a number of times. I think the neutral zone in season 1 was the first time we see.
Of course, it was
Romulans. Data thinks it's fortunate he performs his duties without emotional distraction, as a surprise course correction might make him nervous. And then as he's saying that, he looks down and he's not doing his job, and his hands tapping on the desk, and he's like, oh.
Once again, like he says, he can't tell sarcasm whilst recognizing sarcasm. He says it's a good job he can't get nervous whilst clearly showing that he is nervous.
Yeah, I know.
I am concerned.
Yeah.
Kaz says, "Make it so." By the way, I don't know if that's a hint that we haven't seen enough Picard yet.
Oh yeah.
Not for this. Kaz, no.
Sorry.
No.
There you go.
No,
there he is. Just
today.
about.
No,
Hey, there he is.
All right.
That's enough.
Big
That's enough.
in that one. Thank you.
That's the end of Act 1. Should we go to the questions? So the question 2 was the name of the Bolian ship's barber in this episode: Vassal, Mott, Buddy, or Desai.
We got 6 A's and 2 B's.
6 A's and 2 B's. Well, I think Tavikin's getting the A in there super early was a bit of a giveaway.
I was actually guessing.
Were you?
I just thought I heard that name before.
Yeah, it is A. Vassal.
It was an A or D toss up for me. I wasn't sure. So
I was convinced it was Mott, but Mott comes later. Yeah.
Well,
I thought
there
it was
might
Mott as well.
also.
That was my original one. Was Mott.
Mott has a very different personality. He's much more talkative and
Bubbly.
self-assured.
Is he the one that does Picard's non-existent hair?
But he'd be like, you know, like someone like a junior officer would come in and he'd be telling them what to tell the captain and how to do his job.
Yeah.
You should tell
Yeah, he
Picard
was
to,
in
you
lower
know,
decks,
patrol the
wasn't he?
neutral zone more, you know, more aggressively. Is like any junior, lieutenant, junior grade or ensign would tell the captain what to do. You're like, oh, I was yeah. He's just a bit of a blowhard.
It would be understandable why people thought that it was potentially Mott, depending on your reading material, because actually in the Star Trek Encyclopedia, they mistakenly thought that it was the same Bolian hairdresser throughout, and actually did
No.
label this one as being Mott. But no, it's Vassal. And yes, you're right. I mean, they don't even sound the same or look the same.
Though
I guess this is future racism, right? All Bolians look the same.
that's right. It is. It is.
Well, there was that race with the, you know, they had like the harmonica with the dry ice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And two different people wore the same mask, and then they're like, "Oh, it's you again," and they go, "No, I'm a completely different person."
Yeah, but there's a reason for that, though.
It was the
They
same
used the same
guy.
mask.
It was
Yeah,
the same
it was
the
actor.
same
guy. But also,
It
yeah,
was-
there was the
it
same
was
actor,
absolutely
but
the
they,
same
they
guy.
come from these
Yeah.
they come from these like genetic clusters,
They're
don't
clone.
they?
They have like a
yeah, so-
hatching
yeah.
pod.
Yeah,
so,
hatching
like,
pods.
Yeah, and
that's
they
it.
all look the same. Yeah.
So like 80 or 100 of them come out together, whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Andrew
But that was
says.
just the excuse for using the same actor, so they could use the same prosthetics and save a load of money.
Andrew says we made a mutual mistake, Monty. Oh, what have I done? What have I done now? Have I got something wrong? Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Interestingly, they don't actually say his
I think
name.
maybe just Mott is saying.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I
don't
thought
know,
it was
maybe,
Mott.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, you thought it was Mott as well. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, they don't actually mention his name in the episode, so I just watched it, assumed it was Mott, but it's actually in the end credits. He's credited as being Vassal.
I thought I heard Jordy say Vassal
No,
because that was the voice that I heard it in.
apparently it's not mentioned in the episode, so I
Oh, right.
heard. But yeah, I could be wrong on that one, but that's what I read. Vassal was supposed to be Mott, but when it came to appearing again the second time, the actor wasn't available, I don't think, so they got another actor in and just created a new character. But I think there's four Bolian barbers throughout the life of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Only two of them are named though, Vassal and Mott.
Cool.
Yeah.
Once
there you go.
again, not enough data talk right now. Just put that in there.
But he's right there on screen.
You see there, look, he really is. You've been able to look at his
No.
beautiful face this whole time. Look.
He is beautiful.
Anything
You know-
else?
Oh, I gotta bring in some fun facts about like his lips. His lips
Yes.
changed color, and actually, one artist that did really good, or at least the episodes where he was more well received, was when they actually started putting lip gloss on him to differentiate the different gradients of gold on his skin, like a natural person has. Our skins have a blush dry lips, so naturally he would have like a gold for lips. So yeah, in some of them he actually has lip gloss on where it's like a light antique dry gold, because all up in that man's mouth.
I wonder was it Drexler? If you don't know the history of Doug Drexler, he won a Academy Award for his makeup, but he was big into Star Trek and he got on Star Trek. But he was doing makeup initially, but he got into model making, then digital model making, then props, then sets. You know, but he got on the show because he wanted to be on the show, and he was like he's winning Oscars making films, but he wanted to be on Star Trek. But he built a whole career around it in the end. So it could have been him. He's a very inventive guy.
Yeah.
And give him a follow on Facebook if you don't. He shares some interesting stuff and stories from the old days.
Type his name in so we got it.
Yeah, sorry.
Here you go.
Yeah, Doug Drexler. He also the character Drex, the Klingon Drex, is named after him in Deep Space Nine.
Oh, that's awesome.
This is the guy.
Although his
Doug
he
Drexler.
just lost his wife, so his Facebook's a bit dreary at the moment. But
Oh, bless him. Well,
but,
we're sorry to hear that, Doug.
And he also has cancer himself. It's not a good time for him, but he's working on Picard, and he's still staying active. So, and he's on the Orville as well, as you see.
Yeah. Anyway, there we go. Doug Drexler. Right.
Is there any way you can blow up these photos?
No. That's it.
Okay.
It's the way they are. Hang on. I probably can.
Well, how big? No, I don't. I was going to, but I won't.
There you go.
Stop there.
That's a bit bigger for you. Is that better?
As big as it comes.
That's as big as
I will figure it out.
I think that's as big as I can get it. Yeah. Okay, onwards to act number 2. Act 2.
To answer Andrew, that was not my neighbour. That was my Ukrainian house guests coming home. They've been on a walk for about 4 hours, actually.
Oh, nice.
Fair play to them.
Nice.
I
Okay.
can't use Zoom Smile a Rainbow. I've got different windows up. Dependent on Montalban.
Yeah. Data provides his report to the Ambassador and Picard in the ready room. Data confirms the Romulans continue to test Federation defences along the neutral zone and that policy would continue in future. The Ambassador, though, insists on continuing on with the mission, whatever that mission might be. I don't know if, Maz, you can just move your mic up a little bit. Just a little bit.
That's sort of like right by my nose.
Yeah, but
It's either by my mouth or my nose. I mean,
down a little bit further. Down a little bit further. A little bit more. There you go.
Up a bit.
No,
to
no.
me, to you, to me.
Okay.
Tavi's like, what?
Yeah.
No, yeah, because I'm so in this picture and I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
There's kind of a kid show where
Chuckle
they were
Brothers.
constantly moving furniture like really badly. It's kind of a pantomime, kind of vaudeville thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like to you, to me. It's very vaudeville.
Yeah. Yes. Data heads to his quarters and feeds his cat Spot. This is the first time we see Spot. So again, another first. Interestingly, when Spot is eating his food off these little, you can see a little bug running around inside the food.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's mentioned in the.
Oh, probably just flew in a window into the Enterprise. It was a bit warm. The Enterprise opened up the windows. It happens.
And there was another fly like buzzing around Data at some point. It happened twice in this episode. Also, his cat food was number 74, so potential hidden 47 reference.
Okay. Yep. That's okay. We're gonna scrap question 3.
Oh.
We're not gonna have a question. No, that's fine.
Did you just mess?
I think Mazza should get the points just for hitting it on the nail on the head.
What does?
I'm going to tell you any hidden 47 references.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
That's all right. That doesn't matter.
You just
That
have
doesn't
to give
matter.
those points to everyone. That's a gratuitous
Yeah,
point to the house.
everybody can get those points. There you go. That's everybody
Miami
gets points. Yeah.
Yay, I got everybody 60 points. Aren't I special?
Yeah.
Feline supplement.
Yeah. There's a thing where there's the first time we see the LCAR screen on his desk active, and it shows like maintenance programs cycling through or something, but it goes between this shot of that screen cycling through information to this shot where it's a static display of just the Enterprise D schematic.
Okay, but obviously we're looking at the remastered ones. That the original probably didn't have that graphic, or did it?
No, it did. Yeah, it did.
Okay.
They just recreated it. They recreated the graphic in the remastered version, but they didn't.
But they didn't fix the error. Okay.
They didn't fix the error. No.
Or continuity issue, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. O'Brien arrives. Data offers him a seat. He sits down and stands up and apologizes for how he reacted in 10 forward. Data offers him a pillow or a more comfortable chair. Or should he put on some music? But Mars like, no, I don't want anything like that, sir. He wants Data to talk to Keiko and convince her to see reason to get back on the program with the wedding. Data's apparently worked with her for a long time, and she respects his opinion. So Data agrees to try. I'm sure this is going to go very well. On his way, he summarizes to Maddox that Keiko was calm and rational this morning, so he predicts she will respond positively to a rational argument. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen.
I don't want to say anything.
Once again, another first. We're in the Arboretum. And just in case, if you don't know, for those who might not know, these blue squares at the back of the saucer section, these are the windows into the Arboretum.
Also, that you see the shuttle bays there. Shuttle bay 1 is the one on the left. Shuttle bay 2 is the one on the right. Or no, I'm getting that the wrong way.
No, shuttle bay 1's this big one at the top.
Thank you. And then it's 2 on the left and 3 on the right.
Yes.
And almost every time we always go to shuttle bay 2 because they can actually reduce from that size.
Oh, the AI is back.
But if you look at shuttle bay 1, like it's about 6 times as wide as shuttle bay 2. So
yes.
Yeah, so the other week we had one, they were supposing shuttle bay 1. It's like, no, shuttle bay 1 is like 3 basketball courts or 4 basketball courts wide. It's no way that small.
Yeah, no. Yeah, there you go. So these are the shuttle bays, and that's the Arboretum. And if you want to see what that looks like as far as deck plan goes, there you have.
Smiler, why'd you block the AI? It's probably becoming sentient. It came back. I told it to come back.
She's just doing her job.
And look, it's got little tweez in it.
You can see the little trees. And interestingly, or if you like that sort of thing, because of where it's situated at the back of the saucer section here, it's actually right on top of the battle bridge.
The battle bridge there. Okay.
Yeah, the battle bridge is here.
Although it makes sense. Well, it doesn't make sense. It makes sense in Starfleet design, but you're thinking if it's going into battle, it would be like the kick in Battlestar Galactica. It would be the dead center of the ship, so no matter what happened, it would survive everything. But again, if you look at Shuttle Bay 1, look how deep it is. It's got like a Delta Flyer thing at the back, and 2 shuttles in front of it, but it has the space for about 10 shuttles wide all the way back.
That's actually
a massive space.
That's actually a runabout.
Oh, is it? Very good.
And also, in another thing, talking about runabouts, Junk Ball Media actually released another video today.
Yes, they did.
About runabouts. So, anyway, that was very excited for Junk Ball Media fans out there.
There is a Lego or a fake Lego set of a runabout out, but it's far too expensive at the moment. But on AliExpress, if you don't worry about unofficial parts, they're producing it. There's a crowd called Blue Bricks that are going to bring out the official model in a while, but you can actually get a Lego runabout pretty soon.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so there you go. That's the Arboretum that we're seeing for the first time, and that's where it is. So you know now. If you're ever back here again, at least you know where you are on the Enterprise.
Oh, yeah, and that's the main computer core in the center there. I was like, why is the warp core in the saucer?
Yeah,
but it's the computer core.
That is the computer core.
But there's 3 computer cores on, but obviously the other 2 are in the star section.
Correct. Yes.
Andrew Semple says, didn't the battle bridge only ever get used once? I don't think it was just once, was it? It's like maybe 3 or 4 times?
A number of times, yeah. It was used in Encounter at Farpoint. It was used in Best of Both Worlds. It was used in another episode. I can't remember which one.
Well, in Encounter at Farpoint, so when you're doing a pilot of a show, it's important that you write in as many sets as possible into the pilot, because they give you a huge pilot. So they give you 10 million to make the pilot, but they only give you 500,000 an episode. So you write in all the scenes. We have to have a scene in engineering. So there's a scene in engineering that's completely superfluous, but it's just there so that they give them the budget to build the engineering set. So they had to include the battle bridge, engineering, everything that they could think of. And part of the reason why Encounter at Farpoint is so muddled is because of that. But and the saucer separation and paying for all those shots as well.
Yeah.
They had to have it in. Because if they didn't have it in the pilot, then they wouldn't get the money to do it later. So it's just life.
G-Star says it's used in that War Games episode as well.
Yes.
Andrew Semple says, I've got to see these episodes. Would appreciate if I could get a list of them. I'm sure we could arrange that.
Yeah, we can arrange that.
Ex Astra Scientia, which is a website, and it's also the motto of Starfleet Academy from the Stars Science, I think, or from
This
the
one
Stars
here.
Knowledge. There you are. If
Can you just like search for Battle Bridge?
appearances of
you don't
Battle
wanna
Bridge
navigate away.
or saucer separations in Star Trek
Mm.
TNG, if you Google that, it'll tell you all the episodes. I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a great resource, a great website. I use it a lot.
Yeah, there you are. Look, authored by your Killabrand. Follow
Yeah.
him on Twitter. Great guy. Fantastic.
Right.
You gotta type it in chat, Sean.
Yes.
Yeah, he's German, not Swedish, but he does have the whole Umlaut name.
Get it into chat there. Right. So yes, we're in the Arboretum. Data says her decision has not made her happy or O'Brien, so she should rethink her original assumption. She may not have realised that her decision would hurt Chief O'Brien. Keiko says she thought Data was her friend and tells him to leave her alone and storms off. So he decides to go talk to Councillor Troy for advice.
Wait, before you change that photo. Oh no, get them tits off the screen. Only my tits are on the screen tonight. Okay, let's take it back because you missed something.
What?
Look at those luscious waves because usually he has that stuff slicked back. This is the stuff I see in an episode. Look at that. I don't even know if that's him. Is that a double?
I think it is him.
No, it's him.
It's him. It's just his hair is a little out of. Yeah, it's a bit fluffier than normal.
Maybe he just woke up.
Mm.
Ooh,
No,
yes.
you could tell. You can tell because how well the uniform is very well fitting. If it was a double, it wouldn't fit that well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see a good use of a double in a minute.
There's a double in this episode? No.
Yeah.
Here's-
I didn't even know.
Here's a double. Oh no, that's not.
She's not that big,
Double
but
D.
she's got a nice set.
Yeah.
She does have a lovely set.
A double. I see. Yes.
I don't know. I choose this. I don't know. So this is one of his
Making me
friends.
competitive.
He
Becoming competitive.
This is his one friend he understands the least because her world is all about emotions and he doesn't have any. Data asks why Mars and Keiko are talking to him and not each other. Data tells her that all the ways he has calculated what makes a perfect marriage. Troy shuts him down as he's telling her all these different things. She tells him that maybe he just needs to stay out of it and give them room to sort themselves out. She points out that marriage is about a lot of things, like growing old together. That troubles Data because he would like to marry one day, but he can offer a lot except for the growing old part. And she agrees with him that he has a lot to offer.
It looks like he's checking out her rack in that one.
Does it?
Can't blame her.
Yeah. Andrew said, yeah, that he looks
Oh, it
like
does.
he fancies her.
You see, it's like,
I'd say she's wearing a corset in
He
that
needs to
scene,
work
but-
on his gaze.
yeah,
Yeah.
eyes are up here, Data.
She is looking particularly trim.
I'd say there's a corset in that shot. It's too
Yeah,
too structured.
yeah.
Yeah, the
I-
wrinkle lines aren't there properly.
Yeah, so I'd say it's corset or girdle or something. I'd say she had it on
Definitely.
for the exact length of time it took to make the scene, and then took
Oh.
it off so she could breathe again.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Data gets called to Pell's quarters. She asks him about the ship's defences and capabilities. She provides a security code. Data confirms that it's valid, but tells her that he's got the same safeguards as the ship's computer and will report such inquiries to the captain. She tells him that actually she was only checking his safeguards and to cancel the request. What is it, Tammy?
Andrew said, I'm detecting silicone in your chest cancer.
Yeah.
I would have tried to gain rank just so I could summon Data to my quarters all the damn time. Be like, why are we always meeting in your room? Oh, no reason.
Oh, why is that?
Surprise, surprise. Another shot with Data in. Oh,
Oh,
my God.
what is this
Look
about?
at that sleep.
yeah.
I thought it's a
this,
good
This is
side
a weird
profile.
start to a scene. It's a weird start to the scene. He goes over to the corner where she's just sitting down, and then he walks her 3 steps across. Like, she doesn't enter the room and everyone turns around. She's just sitting in the room for like half an hour, 40 minutes. We starting? And then she stands and walks to the center of the room. Not much
The
of an
AI
entrance.
is back. Sorry.
Not much of an entrance when
you,
she didn't
you can
actually
leave
physically
the
enter.
AI for a bit if you want.
Whatever bumps up the numbers.
Yeah,
As long as it
whatever.
hits like.
Point.
All hail our
Naked
new
HD!
AI overlords.
Data is fine, ain't he? Naked HD. Woo. If you take over mankind and you put us in a simulation, I do not care. But at least make mine all about that data and
Lore, B4 Gump, whatever. You make it work.
Just a rotation.
Yeah.
Just mess me up. I'm all good.
Look at that schnoz, though. I mean, he is aerodynamic.
You know his
He's a
schnoz
shark,
is different on two sides, and he's constantly noticing. Brent Spiner, he's constantly noticing that people are always trying to change his nose and fan art and whatnot. His nose is actually a bit angular on the other side, but on this side it's actually smoother because he has like a dip on the side that changes the contour of his nose.
I have that as well.
Canonically, he's he's molded on his creator's face. So the fact he has an imperfect face. Also, there's a thing called the uncanny valley that if you need imperfections for people to make you look real. Otherwise, it messes with your ability to view faces. If it looks too perfect but too real, people get detested by it. So it's canonically.
I know. I've had that problem my whole life. No.
Yeah, lovely Massa.
Ruth makes a good point that, as I was saying earlier about how he says he can't, doesn't have emotion, then does. Here he's sort of saying, "Oh, I wish I had that thing called instinct because, I must take what she says at face value, but I'd really rather that be backed up with a gut feeling that it is really true."
Showing that he has a gut feeling.
A gut feeling that it's not
Yeah,
true.
I know. It's funny, isn't it?
Well, it's not that. Yeah, he obviously does have gut feelings, but it's the case that he just doesn't have confidence in them, and it's kind of his programming versus his natural learning are kind of coming into. Obviously, as the seasons goes on, he gets more faith in himself, but it's more the case that if you're not sure about something, you just follow the rules because you can't really get trouble when you follow the rules.
Yeah,
whereas
when
you stand up for what you believe in, you can get knocked out of it. So you want to be fairly sure. So in his case, he's doing his best to live in the world as best he can.
It's like he was saying earlier.
Mickey's here.
I know, Mickey. Hiya, Mickey. You're right.
Mickey is in the house, and Andrew says it's almost as big as my nose.
Wow.
So Andrew has
please.
a conk to rival datas.
I love a schnoz. Another thing about AI and emotions. The current research on why AI is functioning the way it is because they do read to have their sort of subsets of emotions and how they understand the world. And what's awesome is the way Data is behaving in this episode and in a lot of other episodes is actually similar to how actually AI new AI process information here. And these AI were just in our imaginations back then.
I'll tell you a quick 20-second anecdote.
20 seconds, okay. I'm counting.
Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's a podcast. You probably know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is. And anyway, he had on this guest, and they were trying to teach AI how to detect cancerous moles, and eventually they got it up to 100% accuracy. But what was happening is, anytime there was a cancerous mole, there was a photo of it, they put a little ruler in it to measure it. So instead of detecting the cancerous moles, it was just detecting the photos with the rulers in it.
Ah, yes.
So they'd accidentally created a situation. So just the way we teach AI isn't always the best because it was just detecting the ones that had the rulers in it.
Yeah.
So they mucked up the results.
It's like, was it Microsoft had the AI and they taught it by plugging it into Twitter, and then within hours they had to turn it off because it quickly turned into sort of Nazi, racist,
all the TERF anti-Semites.
Yeah. All the worst of humanity just came out in this AI.
Guys, we're having a naughty chat because we're getting worked up over Andrew's nose and Data.
Yeah.
And naked AI is actually popping up for this part of the conversation. Yes, AI.
Yeah.
Data is fine.
Well, it must be. We keep talking about artificial intelligence. It must be just scanning channels, hearing, detecting those words and jumping in on us.
And
Maybe.
Ruth is saying machine learning is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But as I said, you can accidentally teach it the wrong things and get the wrong results. That's all. So just be
We
aware
got
of that.
we got naked HD fans now in chat.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to change.
Like
If
channel,
Nate-
like and share HD.
Yes, Naked HD. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell button.
But yes, definitely, like he was, I wish I had some tuition because this doesn't seem right to me. Like earlier, like I wish I had emotions and could worry about this because I'm glad I don't because else I'd be worried, as he's worrying about it, It's kind of like, keeps going. Anyway, that was the end of Act 2. So, we can't go to the question because we didn't have a question.
74, yeah, we know.
It was 74. Yeah, you all got points.
The only
Congratulations.
additional bit I was going to say was this was the first appearance of Date's cat, obviously, Spot,
Yeah.
although he doesn't get named until in theory. In this one, he was kind of
And he
like
changed gender.
long-haired, sort of brownish. Later becomes an orange tabby, like orange
Yeah.
and white, I think. And also was at one point a he, then a she. So yeah, changes.
Yeah,
sort
they
of
refer to him
breed,
getting out.
gender, name.
Getting out and getting other cats pregnant, and then
Becomes
she
pregnant.
then she becomes pregnant herself, and then I'm a modern man, I don't judge. Okay, herself, to get your pronouns right, and then and then obviously turns into a lizard.
Yes,
I feel like we
Straight
should
life.
turns into a
I feel
lizard.
like we should send Andrew a link and get him on the show so everybody can see the size of his nose. Also, he says he's had a few to drink, so that could be funny.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Actually, where I live,
I created a. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say where I live, there's a Semple Stadium. It's the third biggest stadium in Ireland. Just anytime I see the name Semple, that's all I can think of.
Oh,
Sorry, Debbie.
when it comes to a spot, I actually created a meme, a restaurant cat meme for a data lore dank meme page, and I also shared it on the TNG fan page. They actually took it down, and my impression was they thought that my comment was attacking trans people
Oh,
through a cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I was like, I really didn't see that, but okay, take it down.
I can possibly see where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Depending on what you said, but anyway, look, better just to leave those sleeping dogs.
Okay.
Lie. Cats lie. As the
So-
cats
leave sleeping cats lie. Data's meeting with Dancing Doctor in the holodeck and gets a tap dancing lesson. She shows him one move and she repeats and goes, "Am I dancing, Doctor?" And she's like, "Not quite yet." He's just moving to the final lesson. They go on and complete a complicated tap dance routine. Here we are, they're dancing, and that's obviously Data there, tap dancing away.
Definitely.
Uh,
Got very slim. He must have done a lot of dancing in those couple of between the two shots.
yeah.
He can change his body however he needs to, just like his hair.
I did mention this before, but Gates is her middle name. Cheryl is her first name.
Mm.
Don't call her Shirley. And she, before she was an actor, she was a choreographer, and
Yeah.
she's in some of the Muppet movies, and she choreographed Labyrinth, which between doing David Bowie and all the puppets and everything they had to do together and the juggling of the glass balls must have been one hell of a job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
not
to be-
just an actress.
To be fair, although they used a stunt double on little bits of this, Brent Spiner did do most of the stuff
he did,
himself.
he
It was
did.
only one section. Obviously, Gates did all of her own stuff, as you say. She also received double billing in the credits because they put her in as choreographer as well as playing Beverly Crusher, so she
And
was
did-
mentioned
did-
twice.
Did they put her down as Cheryl for choreography, or did they put her down as Gates?
I think it was Gates.
Oh, okay. Because normally when she
yeah.
does choreography, she goes as Cheryl, and when she does acting, she goes as Yates. And as I said, she's in some of the Muppet movies. The Muppets Go to Manhattan and stuff as
yeah.
well. 'Cause she was involved with all the Hensons back in the day.
And she was also pregnant during this. If you remember at the beginning, sort of a few episodes ago, when she was doing the stunts on Remember Me, that was like
Oh, she didn't know
a
she was
day or
pregnant. You were
so
saying that,
before,
yeah.
like she had found out she was pregnant. So yeah, she was at this point as well.
Oh, there's a scene here that we didn't see when she was in the medical room when he asked her, could she teach him how to dance?
Yeah.
She's dealing with this pregnant lady before.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
before the scene ends, she like lifts up the blanket to cover the pregnant lady's belly, but she doesn't. She just lifts it up and like sets it down. And me as a pregnant
Like
woman,
half
I'm going,
covers
if
it.
you don't,
Yeah.
it's like, if you don't cover up my belly, woman, my tummy's out.
I only just occurred to me now, but you know when you go to hospital and they have those privacy screens and they put them around, And then you go into sick bay on the ship, and there's only one for some reason, despite the fact the ship separates. And like, there's no privacy screens. There's no like cloth that you just bring around when you want to do examinations. No, all your business is open to the whole room.
Yeah, well, you don't get
You could
that
be
in the
just delivering
military.
your child, and your
Yeah.
legs are up like this. And it's like, it's fine. Someone coming in with a broken finger. Oh, right, that's nice.
Yeah.
Hey,
Just
it's
seeing
the
all
future.
your business.
Oh dear.
Everyone's been on Risa. This is like not even
a thing
Very
now.
different.
It's not a thing.
It's like that's not going back to where it was before.
Yep. At the end of this, Data's like, okay, I'm now ready to dance at the wedding. And Beverly's like, the wedding? You didn't tell me that. So she teaches him a slow dance. And it starts off, it's quite hard for him because he can't see her feet, but eventually he gets the idea and he finds it a complex set of variables to coordinate, which is a bit surprising considering he can do so many millions of computations a second. But
you remember the episode where he meets his father, Noonian, the second episode, or one of the episodes of Data and Lore. And you're exactly in my.
It's the episode Brothers where he meets.
I'm doing it left-handed. Hold on, I'll do it right-handed. So I match you.
yeah. But question number 4, I actually got a question and we're going to say it. What type of slow dance does she teach him? Is it A, samba, B, rumba, C, foxtrot, or D, waltz? What type of dance does she teach him? Samba, rumba, foxtrot, or waltz? The doc then gets a call. Gets called to sick bay for the labour of Lieutenant Hareth. And Data continues to practice with a holographic partner. It looks like it's going really well.
We've all been there.
Until he turns around and he's got a really big fake smile on his face.
That is the creepiest. That is my least liked photo of Data. I'm like, oh damn, that's creepy. But he still looks good.
Well, he's fully functional, so.
G-Star says, I would have loved it if they did a Dirty Dancing scene here. The room looks just the same, which it does look pretty similar to that, yeah, with the windows and stuff.
Oh, Mazzy, actually, you're about to say it, aren't you?
What?
I was just reading up the notes on this before it came out. Apparently, yeah, okay, we're on the same page.
Yeah, no,
Apparently,
go on.
They were planning on a whole, like, the idea started out as a whole Saturday Night Fever white suit thing, and it eventually evolved into this.
Yeah, that's what they originally had it as, full white suit, John Travolta style. And apparently, they knew it was never actually going to happen, but they quite liked having it in the storyboarding and stuff because it made everybody chuckle.
Well, I mean, that's, I suppose if you're writing, putting in a lot of outlandish ideas, they lead to other ideas and you whittle them down. But, at the creative stage, you put in the most stupid stuff knowing full well it's never going to happen. But, you can get just get that little bit of an idea out of it.
Shoot for the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It does remind me of like an Asimov story, this, with a robot dancing with an artificial construct. It's just like the two things dancing around. It's just, reminds me of an Isaac Asimov.
I just realized they never made a joke when Data started dreaming about him counting sheep or dreaming about sheep,
That's it.
There's such an obvious joke there and they never did it, and now I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Ruth wants the options again because they're not in chat, and some people put in waltz, and I'm not quite sure which of the letters that was.
Oh, the options are A, samba, B, rumba, C, foxtrot, or D, waltz. Samba, rumba, foxtrot, or waltz. Yes. In fact, here you go. I can do this.
And I can't help but think that particular selection might have been influenced by a certain screensaver I showed you last week.
You never know. Right, on the bridge. Oh, is this picture? Oh, no, that's wrong. Why has that come up there? Hang on a minute. There we go. Have I got the wrong picture? Why is it? Oh, there we go. On the bridge, it looks like Riker's chatting.
She wants it.
Oh, look. He's chatting up a tactical officer who's on duty.
This is a meme, this photo.
Is it?
Talking about ass styling or something. It's like, well, you're just sitting on the communication things. I
know. Worf's got to
he's
tap
just
his
like
fingers
pressing
there
buttons.
every day, and he
Yeah.
just sits his ass
No,
on it.
I saw a meme of this particular photo, and well, or at least I'm sitting in the same spot, and basically it's like a Reddit thread. And the first part is like, how do you know he's just sitting? He's not like worried about shooting off photons and hitting a ship or something. And then underneath it, they go, by the 24th century, I'm pretty sure they figured out how to stop ass styling or something. to that
Yeah.
effect. But this particular shot's a meme. Sorry, please continue.
Well, it looks like it's a typical kind of Riker maneuver type thing going on here.
Yeah,
but
he's
then
firing photons
we
off
get
with his arse.
we get the reverse
He's literally
shot,
sitting on the weapons controls.
and we actually see he's addressing a group. It's not just he's telling the story to a group of officers at the back of the bridge. He's not just hitting on the tactical officer. So
Yeah, the Riker
Either
lead.
that or he's just hitting on a crowd.
yeah, to be fair, could be any of them.
You're one that tactical. She's well into it. She wants
She's definitely
Yeah.
sort of leaning in, isn't she?
She's
Yeah.
keen.
Yeah. Data enters and comments in his narration that Commander Riker's easygoing manner and sense of humor is fascinating to him. He believes it to be the reason he's so popular and partly responsible for his success in the matters of love. He surmises there must be a correlation between humor and sex, but this needs more research.
Naked!
This needs more research, and I'm sure Riker would agree with that. They reach their coordinates, but then they head into the neutral zone to meet a Romulan warbird. The ambassador hails the warbird and arranges transport across for negotiations. The Romulan commander commends Picard show of strength by having his weapons systems fully powered. In transporting... Sorry,
I was just going to say that's a great reuse of the set from the other few weeks ago. They obviously never threw it out.
Yep, it's the same. We've seen the
From Riker's holographic simulation episode. It looks to be the same set. Sorry, please continue.
it is the same set. Yes.
Also, there's a thing where I don't know if they did it this episode because I wasn't paying attention, but the screen isn't supposed to be a flat image. It's supposed to be 3D. So when you move around, it should change.
Correct.
So you see side on, it's showing an angle. So in theory, if they show it straight on, it should show like a different angle. Like, when you walk around the room, it should move with you like you're carrying a camera. But I'm not sure if they do that.
Exactly. Yeah, they never actually move the camera.
It's not supposed to be an image. It's supposed to be like a 3D thing. So if you move from one side of the room to the other, the image should move around with you. That's the way the technology works.
Yes,
Sorry.
correct. Yeah. We see him front on later on, I think. But yeah, as this camera angle is side on, we see him kind of side on.
Side on, and then when they do it straight on, they shot him straight on. So
Yeah.
it's not always noticeable, but once you know it, you always see it. But they kept it consistently all the way through the years for the most part.
Yeah. In transporting her over, it looks like there's some kind of transporter malfunction that ends up with the death of T'Pel. Sad times for her. And that was the end of Act 3. Anything else from this act, Maz, that we might have missed? Firsts,
No, not
lasts?
specifically. I think I don't know if he quite says it yet. It might be after this, but in Data's letter to Commander Maddox, he does talk about the mission and going towards the Romulan neutral zone and stuff like that. But considering how classified all this is, and that they don't even want to tell their own crew what's going on, it seems a little bit like a breach of confidentiality for Data to be writing about it.
I think it's more he's composing it. Once he's debriefed, then it doesn't matter anymore after the fact.
Yeah, I guess it hasn't been sent off yet.
Yeah,
because there's an episode of Deep Space Nine where Bashir and O'Brien come in after a mission, and they go, "Can you tell me what happened, or can you not talk about it?" I go, "Oh no, it's fine now. We've been debriefed. Once the mission is over, like it's only confidential while it's happening. Once it's happened, who cares? Who knows? It's already happened. So in most cases, it's no longer confidential.
Yeah,
or top secret, depending on what way you're saying it.
I think possibly Data's scientific research into Data, Maddox's research is possibly like top classification of classified as well.
I would also imagine
anyway.
he's writing. He's not necessarily sending it in that moment. He'll wait till and it's not like he'd make that kind of mistake. So he'll wait till it's allowed to send it before it goes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine it would be top secret though, because just to communicate the actual function of his programmings and whatnot, just over a personal letter would be a information security
Yeah, but
issue.
he's just recording it like a log. But once he's been debriefed and it's no longer, or it can be censored depending on the situation. But Maddox was a commander, so he would have a high military clearance anyway. But then again, it could also be need to know. So yeah, there's a couple of background things there.
So going on back to question 4 then, what type of slow dance does she teach him? Was it samba, rumba, foxtrot and waltz? It was D, waltz. So well done for any D's out there.
There were many D's.
There
and
were
two
many
C's.
many D's. So congratulations to you guys. We're on to Act 4. Here they are in the transporter room with the death of T'Pel. O'Brien says it's not his fault. He didn't do it. Geordie can't find any issue with the transporter. Dr. Crusher finds some organic residue on the transporter pad, but it's not really enough to run through any tests. The Romulan Admiral hails them. Who's that? Some breathing.
I think it's Sean.
Sorry, I ran out of the room for a minute and I came back, so I probably left out. I'm good now.
You're all right there, mate.
Yeah, all good. Just out of shape. Go on.
The Romulan Admiral hails them and is like, I'm still waiting to receive your ambassador. But what is the Romulan Admiral's name? Is it Jarok, Mendak, Valdor, or Savar? Is it A, Jarok, B, Mendak, C, Valdor, or D, Savar? What's the name of the one?
Because Jarok was with the lad at Tanagra. Was that actor, was he using something else? He looks very familiar.
He does look familiar. I don't know.
I'll look it up.
I'm
for
sure
you.
Mazim Bob can get all over that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't actually have any notes about him. It wasn't sort of noted in any of the trivs, but I'll have a little look.
Looking at those answers, I'm covered in bees.
And what was,
Yeah,
was
many
his rank?
bees.
What was his rank, Admiral?
It was Admiral.
Okay, I guess he's got double stripes, and I don't know how Romulan ranking works in terms
I don't
of
know.
the way they decorate their uniforms. But
It's
that's
one
not
of only 3 admirals, Romulan admirals we've ever seen in Star Trek.
Because they've got sub commander and then they've got commander, and commander is equivalent to captain, and then sub commander is equivalent to lieutenant. And then I think they've got, is it legate or legionnaire or something below that? I'm not sure.
Legate, yeah, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, this guy's an admiral. Good for him. Well done on his career choices.
Wow,
Well,
almost
you know-
everybody's answered that really quickly except for Kaz. Hopefully she's
Yeah.
not
I
listening.
would always remind you when someone has a good career, just remember survivorship bias. You know, someone will always tell, like if someone wins the lottery and you say, how do you win the lottery? Just play and you'll win. But, you know, in reality, the luck was involved too. So just always be aware of that.
Picard says there's been a hiccup with the transporter, which has led to the T'Pel's death. The Admiral's like, typical Federation behavior. You can never be trusted. Picard tries to offer his services as diplomat, but the Romulan's not having it. Picard agrees to leave the neutral zone at Warp 2 and orders Data to investigate what happened in the transporter. Data tells us of his love of Sherlock Holmes, so goes to work eliminating the possible, so whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.
And I don't know what the airing order was, if Star Trek 6 came out first or this came out, but that line verbatim is said by Spock in Star Trek 6. And possibly, I mean, again, I haven't checked, but maybe one of the writers was the same writers for Star Trek 6 in this episode, because that was literally word for word the same.
I think this is just before Star Trek 6, or it's around Star Trek 6 time. It's
around the same time, or maybe Star Trek 6 was filmed before and came out afterwards. But yeah, definitely, it seems like more than a coincidence that word for word that line is exactly the same in both. And Spock uses it, and obviously Data's a stand-in for Spock in most cases.
But this time they're not looking for a pair of anti-gravity boots.
Yeah, and there's also not 78 decks on the Enterprise A.
No.
Or maybe there is. Who knows?
That was Star
The
Trek
Romulan actor guy
5.
was into other episodes. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. Which ones?
He was Tokath
Oh,
in
worse.
Birthright Part 2, and he was also in a Voyager episode called Resistance as a character called Orgris.
There you go.
Resistance. What happened? Sorry, it doesn't matter. Go on.
No, irrelevant. Irrelevant.
Voyager. It's
Voyager.
irrelevant.
His
We'll get there in like 4 years. Go on.
one day.
Yes.
One day. A long way down there. His investigation takes him to sick bay to check DNA of the last recorded transporter against the biological sample that Beverly obtained. He says he is maybe chasing an untamed ornithoid without cause, which Beverly guesses is a wild goose chase. And after looking, they find an error with the base pairs that proves they are not the same remains as the ambassador.
Okay, I got to come in here from a military point of view because I worked in the port mortuary, and this scene irked me the hell out. When we get remains in, one of the first things you do is check the DNA. Why did he have to bring it up to her after the fact when nobody was coming to a conclusion?
No, they checked they checked the DNA, but there was a very specific test to test something within it. And
something spectral analysis or something.
Yeah, she did like a once over. She didn't do a deep dive, and she went, "Well, that's not normal procedure." But he said, "Well, can you just try it just for me?" So look at it a bit closer. So
I think would have looked at that DNA a bit closer.
Look into this tiny little corner for this needle in a haystack kind of thing.
I didn't get that impression, but all right,
Yeah.
I'll take that.
That was the end of Act 4. Anything else for this one, Maz? We talked about the Admiral.
Well, I'm not sure if this is the first use of it, but I think this year they expanded the sickbay set, so like this space is just off sickbay. It later becomes the doctor's office, the MH's office, so it might be one of the first uses of it.
No, we've seen this many times.
Have we?
Before.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, maybe it was the season before. I stand corrected.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've actually recognized the little purple panel she's got back there, so I thought it was new as well.
Yeah, no, it's always been that way. The
those
desk
things
changes. The desk changes when this becomes Pulaski's office. Pulaski has a different desk. But they bring back Beverly's desk when Beverly returns.
You can tell it's from the films because it's very 70s looking. I'd say that's a leftover the desk. Those panels behind them serve a very practical purpose. They're all covered in carpet, the same way it would be in a theater, just for nice crisp sound, so that you're not getting echoes. They just designed it into the set to make
to death.
But just from like little noises kind of bouncing off the walls. It's just to make clean audio.
Yeah, these are actually like closed Louvre blinds.
They're just blinds colored purple. Yeah,
they're colored purple blinds that are closed. It's supposed to give the impression that it's like a hospital. Like there's a window behind it, but it's not. It's just a light box.
Didn't get that at all. But...
The only thing I had was to do with the appearance of the pads on the transporter platform. Have you got anything about that in your comparison thing, Monty?
No.
It's inconsistent throughout the episode. In some scenes, they've got borderlines around more pronounced than others, and it's because the set was being redressed for use in Star Trek 6 with the thicker black border. So, it was sort of a bit in and out.
I see. Yeah, so as you say, this was around 6. Yeah.
So they were filming around the same time. So one of the writers, obviously, the writers were talking over lunch or something and robbed lines from each other.
I like that line. Yes. I'm going to throw my wooden shoes called sabot in your machine to start. Oh, no.
No, that doesn't work.
No, okay, fair enough. So, question 5. What was the Admiral's name? Was it Jarok, Mendak, Valdor, or Savar? And everybody answered B. Some covered in B's. It was Mendak. You got it all right. So, congratulations.
So did Kaz answer? Don't think she did, No,
I put Kaz to sleep. That's
okay. So now we have 2 front runners with Kaz dropping a question there. which are currently Tavi and Panko. As the
Hey.
two Data fans, you would hope that they would be frontrunners this week.
G-Star reckons it looks like Apple Store furniture. It does, doesn't it? Yeah. Yeah. And he loves the blinds. He loves the blinds.
Well, on that X-Astris Ciencia website, there is a section that covers the chairs, and unfortunately it was the 90s, so most of them are gone out of style, but occasionally you can find them for sale, I suppose, if you're in America. They are just standard office chairs.
The other answers to that question, Jarrock was a Romulan admiral that we saw in the episode The Defector. You know, he defected to the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And that actor played someone else again. Sorry, go on.
He does. Valdor is a Romulan admiral that we see in Enterprise. And Savar, they're all the admirals. Savar is not a Romulan admiral. He's a Vulcan admiral that we saw in Conspiracy in season 1. So, there you go. On to the final act of the day, Act 5. Da, 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 da. Back in the ready room. Data updates Picard, Riker, and Geordi. He's found evidence of a second transporter signal. So she was beamed off their own pad, and some genetic material was simultaneously beamed onto the transporter pad. Does that sound plausible to you guys? That all these transporter beams could be happening in there without sensors, without O'Brien, without anybody noticing? I
mean, they say there's only has to have certain adjustments or whatever to be at the same whatever resonance frequency or some crap. But yeah, I mean, you would think they would have better safeguards in place.
You would.
Otherwise, people would do that all the time, right?
Well, the active beaming means you have to turn off all your all your defenses. So it's technically possible, but if you can send, you can receive. So yeah, I suppose it's technically possible. But you did just skip over something, Monty, which I said as a reference to Balance of Terror. Has everyone seen the end of Strange New Worlds, or can I mention it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so
I have. I don't know.
Close your ears if you don't want to listen.
Well, it's been a month, so yeah, spoilers. So anyway, the episode covers how Pike deals with it more diplomatically, and then but in the real timeline, Kirk dealt with it more gung ho, more cowboy. It was more aggressive, and because Pike was more diplomatic, they respected him less, and that basically caused the whole thing to go badly. Whereas because Kirk was more gung ho and more aggressive, they respected him more, and it ended up working out for him.
Yes.
In the previous scene, they mentioned, I see you have your weapons charged, so do you. And he said, I'd expect nothing less. It's almost a sign of respect to them that you would show aggression to their aggression. And it's a nice follow through from Balance of Terror. Like, they went right back with the lore, right back to the start when they wrote that. To the very first appearance of the Romulans. So I just noticed that when I was watching it, because obviously I rewatched Balance of Terror because of Strange New Worlds recently, and I went, that's a really nice tie-in, and I never noticed it before.
Yeah, no, that's sorry, we did rush through that scene, but no, you're right.
Well, I only noticed it because I watched Balance of Terror recently.
He does.
Because of Strange New Worlds.
They raise red alert and arm their weapons, and he's respectful of them. But he's a show of strength. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I compliment you on your show of strength or something to that effect. But it dates all the way back to Balance of Terror, and then again it's echoed in the most recent episode of Star Trek.
Yeah. In the narration, Data thinks the safest course of action would be to contact Starfleet and wait for further orders, but calculates Picard will choose an alternative, which he does. They leave the ready room, head back to the bridge in a flurry of red alert, shields up, arm everything, warp 8 after the Romulans, engage.
Take the black box off. Geordie's there.
Yeah, Geordie's there. He can remove the black box. Yeah. Was that the right call, though? To just, they think the ambassador has been captured. Is it right to risk the Enterprise by chasing after Romulans in the neutral zone, or should they have?
Well,
Data himself said the right call is to head back out of the neutral zone and contact Starfleet, get back up. So was
Well,
Picard
they've been
wrong?
gone back into. They've
Yeah,
gone
but
back
what's
into
with
Romulan
the whole
space, so
leave no man behind type thing, you know?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's the
they have to
Starfleet
at
way.
least. I have a question. They call it the neutral zone, but I thought the neutral zone was like this buffer area, so you just weren't immediately in Romulan territory.
Yeah, it
So
is.
if you're
Yeah.
in the neutral zone, it's like this area where you can like go back and forth without it meaning that you're trying to start war.
No, both sides have to ask permission to enter the neutral zone or provide an explanation why they did it. So you generally shouldn't be in there without the other side knowing you're there. So the Kobayashi Maru actually, I suppose, is a great example of that. They have to enter. Well, in that case, the Klingon neutral zone, but they cross the border without authorization, and then the Klingons attack them, which they're legally allowed to do because they entered the neutral zone without permission. So neither side should be in there.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
both sides sit at both sides unless one side invites the other in or gives permission. Now they're supposed to keep their distance.
Yeah.
But if one goes in without permission, the other's allowed to attack them. That's kind of the way it works.
I guess it's a bit like the demilitarized zone between South and North Korea, in a way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I just reminded about Kobayashi Maru. I've just finished. We watched Star Trek Prodigy in one evening the other day, and it's a Nickelodeon like children's cartoon. But
yeah, it's very good.
If you like Star Trek, I was hesitant because I was like, well, it's for kids. Do I really? I know I watch everything Star Trek, but do I really want to watch it? But Smiler Rainbow and myself watched it, the whole thing, in one evening. We absolutely loved it. It's great.
Well, yeah, there's only 10.5-hour episodes, so it takes 22 minutes, 25 minutes with ads. So yeah, you can watch it in about 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's fairly good, and it's fairly
Star Trek-y.
It follows canon properly. Yeah. The only thing that bugged me is the Kobayashi Maru episode is that they're all at the wrong station.
Well, that's what. Yes, that's
You
reminded
were
me.
about to say the same
That's
thing.
reminded me of it. As the Kobayashi Maru reference.
Scotty was at. Well, he wasn't at the engineering section. He was at where that guy in the red shirt is, and he should have been at the far right station. And Uhura was at con. She was piloting, or sorry, she was at ops.
She was at ops.
Like she wasn't at.
Yeah,
she should have been where just to the right of where Worf is. Worf's right, not our right. And Odo again should have been on the horseshoe. So it just put him at the right stations.
It's worth a watch though. It's good. It's good.
Although I did give out to Tim McMahon, who's the showrunner on Prodigy on Twitter, for not putting him at the right stations, because you can do that. You can do that on Twitter apparently, and I'm like, yeah, lad, look, these things matter. Please get it right next time.
Yeah.
Love the show. Don't block me, please.
It was a holographic representation, so I guess it was just like a computer game. So I don't know. Okay. So they open a channel to the Romulans, but get no response. The Warbird stops and does respond. Picard accuses him of holding the ambassador hostage. This is a good shot of the Enterprise being surrounded by another Warbird that uncloaks. So that's pretty bad news.
They don't look that much bigger than the Enterprise there, though, do they?
No. Well,
it looks kind of big to me.
They're comparable in power, but they're nowhere near as fast. Like the Enterprise goes at warp 8, and they have a few hours a head start on them. They catch them no problem, because they can only go like warp 6, warp 7. They can't go that fast.
Powered by a black hole.
Yeah,
an artificial black hole.
Yeah, an artificial singularity, and they've retconned it in the Strange New Worlds episode 10. There's graphics of it, whereas previously that was only mentioned in TNG. They've now retconned it that they had that tech back in TOS era.
I wonder if like with their ships and everything, because I was thinking about this the other day. If everyone is cloaked, how do they know where each other is?
Transponders.
Transponders.
Yeah, well, all the Federation ships have transponders that they're on a specific frequency and they know how to pick them up, but they don't tell anyone else what their transponder frequencies are. So it looks like background noise if you don't know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
But I mean, that means you could bump into somebody that's not emitting their transponder number.
Pretty much, but they all know to have it turned on. You have to know to look for it, or you can't find it. Like the signal is there, but it'll get mixed up in the background noise if you don't know it's there.
Yeah. So yes, another Warbird decloaks. Data gives the situation in his narration. He compares it to a game of poker because Picard won't back down. It turns out that Picard's bluff holds, and Mendek brings out T'Pel, who turns out to be not a Vulcan, but a Romulan, Sub-Commander Salok, a spy. So, come on, modem, dial-up modem, catch up. There she is.
And to my knowledge, before Picard, or even possibly in Picard, this is the first time you see both types of Romulans in the same shot, and I think it's the only time, certainly up to Picard. Because in Picard, they explain that Laris goes, bloody Northerners, referring to the ones with the ridges.
Yeah.
To state that they are the same race and that they're two different types. So it isn't the case that she's genetically altered. But they don't explain that in the episode. But it's nice the way it tied in later.
I have to personally admit, I never liked the big exaggerated ridges on the Romulans in TNG. But that was just me.
Well, the Clone Star podcast, if you're not following, an Irish guy called Sean Ferrick, he does some videos for a crowd called Trek Culture, but he has his own podcast, and he was interviewing the guy who played the Romulan commander from the most recent episode of Strange New Worlds, and basically the guy showed it to his kid, and he goes, he looks like you've got a bum for a head or something like that to his effect. When he asked he asked his kid, he's like, hey, what do you think of me in Star Trek? He looks like you got a bum for a head.
Mm.
But I suppose it was the 90s. They had to show that they had the, they had the tech, so they had to try and use it.
They had to show, that they were different in some way. Yeah.
Again, if they just left them looking exactly like Romulans, which canonically are Vulcans, which canonically they did earlier, that would have made sense.
Mm.
But you could just argue about the way that the politics works in Romulus, and the way that the different governments take charge and people just constant coup after coup. That just there was a while where the Northerners, 20 or 30 years, where they were dominant. That people from that side just kept taking over, and therefore they had all the command positions. So you can make it make sense in headcanon.
Yeah. So where are we? Yes. Now it's clear that Mendek isn't holding any Federation members hostage. And with 3 more warbirds approaching, they've got no choice but to retreat. As Riker puts it, sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. Data goes and apologizes to Keiko for interfering, but Keiko's like, don't be silly. Besides, you have to get dressed for the wedding. She gives him a carnation, and Data is thoroughly confused. Women, eh? Yeah.
Oh my Jesus.
In 10 Forward, there's the traditional Japanese sounding flute music. O'Brien hands Keiko a goblet of something, and they both drink from it. Picard officiates, stating it's the privilege of captains to perform their weddings. I think,
and again, that's a line lifted from Balance of Terror or Balance.
Yes, because Kirk's officiating a wedding in that episode as well, isn't he?
But they lift it verbatim from that.
Yeah.
So again, they were taking influence from that episode.
Parallels, symmetry. It's like poetry. It's
like poetry. It rhymes.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
And in turn, it was also used for Till Death Do Us Part in Deep Space Nine, for the wedding there as well.
Yeah. So no, that was like George Lucas talked about the Star Wars prequels.
We got to ask Supreme Panko if that outfit she is in is like legit inspired, like future Japanese looking stuff, because that to me it just looked like they took some of that really crappy iridescent looking material and wrapped it on her.
Well, I think it's a different material, but the style is probably about right. I mean, I'm not saying that this is actually also right, but if you look at pictures of Gene Roddenberry's wedding, Michelle Barrett wears something really similar. I'm not entirely sure why, though.
Yeah, the bow at the back and the hat, as again, it looks like they've kind of created a space version of it. And so, yeah. I don't know how accurate it is. Maybe it's 60% accurate, but, they're definitely leaning in the right direction. And, cultures change over 400 years. So, I'd say they're fairly close to it.
So it's loosely inspired aside from the material. That material, though, why?
Why? I don't know. It's very sort of early 90s.
Because it's the future and everything has to be shiny and plastic. It's the way it goes.
And iridescent.
Because plastic is the future, right?
Oh,
Ah,
My goodness. I'm loving these dress uniforms.
I think it's a new dress uniform for this. I think I don't got information about this, but I don't
anymore.
I don't think it's the same as the dress uniforms we've seen in the past.
No, the collar is striking.
The other ones were knee length and they wore tights under them. They're actually wearing pants again. So
yeah.
It makes Data look like a sinister villain when you see him close up. Like he should be.
I'm actually just drawn to their shoes because they're not particularly polished, and you think they would be in their dress uniform.
Yeah,
but at the same, I understand that's because it's a TV show and they can't be too shiny because they're it'll get caught in the camera. But if you were in your dress uniform in the military and your shoes weren't buffed, I'm sure someone would tell you about it.
Like you getting married or divorced? Like what's going on?
I guess they probably don't buff their shoes. They just throw it in the matter de-replicator and then just replicate some new ones. Right. Dress uniform, blah, blah, blah. Data comments in his log that he doesn't comprehend a lot of human emotions like anger, etc., but he understands the desire to be loved. They have a nice wipe fade, which leads us to Data dancing with Keiko, and he's doing it with style.
what did he give her as a present?
I don't know.
Did I completely blank that out, or did they not feature it?
They didn't
show it, I think. No.
It's like the way he said, "Oh, surely it should reflect the people you're giving it to." I would have loved to have gotten them something really uniquely Data, like not a usual gift, but have been really like nailed it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A calculator.
I think he gives a gift and another one. The dance was oh yeah. Oof.
Ah.
The dance was the present.
They would need a defibrillator if I was dancing with Data. Jesus Christ.
Oh, Brian don't look too pleased about it though, does he? To be fair,
he's
like, "Come on, hurry up."
Probably was trying to call it off because she was probably wanting to get married to Data. So that was.
Okay, maybe not in Irish culture, but like the father-daughter dance is something that happens, but it happens somewhere randomly in the middle of the night. It doesn't come before the first dance. The first dance comes first. I mean, that's what they call it, the first dance. It's kind of weird. It's like the prima nocta thing. It's like, no, that's weird.
Later in sickbay, or in the nursery rather, Picard is looking in on the baby boy. He remarks to Data that at the same time they were facing destruction, a new life was born on the Enterprise. Picard welcomes him aboard.
Why is Data out of dress uniform, but Picard still is? That's weird.
Well, because Data's really quick about things, isn't he? He's really efficient and quick because he's an android. So he left, didn't socialise, went straight to his quarters, got dressed back into his red uniform, ready for duty. Picard's just ambling about the ship after a couple of sherries.
I figured that Data goes into a room and like rips it off like those sexy rip-away stripper pants. That's how he changes his clothes.
He's been drinking the Long Island Earl Grey iced teas.
Yeah. That's what I assumed with that scene anyway. There's Worf and Data facing off.
A bit odd continuity-wise.
Data heads to the bridge and relieves Worf of command and starts the night shift again. So we've got to dim the lights. What about that, though? Why would you dim the lights and raise the lights?
There you go.
Yeah, apparently
that just dimmed me. It didn't dim the background.
That didn't help.
I can't change the background that quickly. I'll just stick with that.
Yeah, they had...
Hold on.
It's the first episode where they... It's the first episode where they talk about the concept of, having a night watch, and it was more got the idea from the Making Trek, where they talked about a proposal for the ship's lights to be dimmed at certain times to try and simulate like a natural, almost circadian rhythm, so that people wouldn't just feel like it. I mean, there are things to do with light and dark and serotonin levels and things like that. So I don't know. They were talking about trying to make it so that people have the feel of a night and day, so that their body chemistry is a little bit more stable. So
I feel that makes sense for people, though, because that's just for humans. There are people from all over other planets, and I'm like, yeah, whose day are we talking about?
But if you're working the night shift all the time, you just have your night at a different time, so it would be daytime to you. Like you don't have to have night and day like that on the ship.
I find
doesn't make
it
any
odd,
sense.
But I'm just telling you what their justification for it was. But
the bridge looks good though. I like it with the dark lights. Yeah.
Although to be fair, like in the modern shows, they light them a lot more dimly because they're not dealing with, like back in the day, in order for film to capture what's going on, it needs to capture light, and the more light, the more they could capture, and they had to do it quickly. So
I mean, just look at how that looks compared to how it looks in Sean's background. It just looks more cinematic and looks cooler. It just looks better.
Although I did move myself to the center, so I'm matching data. Although I'd have to be about 20 foot tall based on the fact that the perspective isn't working. But sure, look, we'll get there.
Once again, for the 4:3 image, they've had to move the consoles like almost touching in this scene to get both of them in.
But it's nice they have the little city spots, outside the main chairs. They upgraded them and they put in for a while they were like this cheap wooden plastic things that they had, for like the extra seats, and they finally upgraded them to the nice stitched
They got
ones.
plush little like cushions and that now. Yeah.
They look like they belong, not just some cheap plastic IKEA furniture they threw in there previously. Yeah. But yeah, it does look a lot better. But back in the 90s, they just couldn't light a show like that because you weren't capturing enough of the light on film.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, they didn't have instant replay. You couldn't just go back and rewatch it. Like, you shot it, you sent it off for the dailies, they developed it overnight, and then someone checked it the next morning to see if it was right, and then shoot it again. You couldn't just say, did that come out right, and just check it. Like, you take a photo and then you look at your phone. You take a photo and you look at your phone to see if it's right. And
I know, but these guys are professional lighting people. They know what they're doing. I mean, when they made yesterday's Enterprise in, like, what was it, season 3? I mean, it looked fantastic. The bridge looked fantastic, and it was super dark. And I just think the bridges just look better. And they got it right, I think, with Voyager. Voyager and DS9 look really good, but everything was just too bright in TNG, I think, in general.
They do, but that was partially inspired by the tech, and it was easier just to overlight things, because that meant that the cameras would always pick it up, and then you didn't have to reshoot it. It was a budget thing.
Yeah.
So they just. So they like you see the exact same set in Generations, and they take it to an absolute extreme. But then again, they had 20 times the budget of any episode per scene, and so they were able to just take their time and do it 100% right. And a TV show, like, they used to shoot 14 days, and they'd only get 6 minutes of footage a day on average. It was crazy. It's very, very hard to make these things.
So Data tells Maddox that being human is just a way of thinking. Then one day he hopes he will discover his humanity. He dims the lights for night watch, and that's the end of the episode. But we haven't had question 6 yet, so this is question 6. And for the next few episodes, I've got a special question to end the episode on. So I've got a lot of Star Trek figures, Playmate figures. So question 6 is going to be, I'm going to hold up a figure, and you've got to guess what character this figure is. It's not going to be multiple choice or anything. You just got to put your guess in chat. What character is this?
Oh, man.
I don't know if you're going to be able to... Maybe if I make myself... hang on a minute. I don't know if you... Can you see him? There he is.
Reunification Part 1?
It is from Reunification. Now, Sean, let everybody else have a chance here. I can't hold him too close because he just goes blurry, look. Sorry.
Back a little bit. Yeah. That's about right, yeah.
There's a great blooper in Reunification Part 2.
Does this profile help?
Oh, no, that profile changes it. What? Oh, that's not a fair
What about
one.
from behind? Does that...
If you hold in close and use your hand to cover it, might focus on your hand.
No, it's not auto. I haven't got auto focus on, because else it unfocuses. Does that jumpy thing? So I've got my focus point set to me, so it's going to be kind of here. I haven't seen a correct answer yet, so I'm still looking for a correct answer in chat. It's not Spock. It's not Sarek. Mazza McBob.
It was the Schnez.
It was the Schnez.
Oh, you got me. All right.
That's Data dressed as a Vulcan.
So is that only one person gets the points for that then?
Only
Oh,
one
that's lovely.
person gets the points for
It
that.
was fastest.
I
oh my
love how I knew.
God.
I love how I knew the episode and I got the wrong character.
There we go.
Oh, funny.
Right.
I love you for choosing that one. That one was awesome.
I was like, reunification part 1.
Yeah.
I feel
funny.
bad now.
Oh, it's fine. Fair is
bad
fair,
'cause
but
I've won.
it just makes me laugh. I got the right episode. I still got it wrong.
You got the right episode, so I'll give you quarter points there, Sean, if that helps.
I don't know if it does.
No, but yeah,
It doesn't
that's
help you win.
So I've got lots of these figures. So each week, well, when we come back, we'll have a different figure, and we'll guess who that character is. Whilst you're working out the scores there, Maz, I just want a quick plug
I know
for
what the scores
this
are.
Friday.
I won.
All right, well, yeah. Quick plug for this Friday at the Monty Zone this Friday with myself and G-Star at 8 o'clock in the vault. I'm not entirely sure what we're talking about this week, but a combination of what's been going on in the world of UFOs and Bigfoots and all things paranormal.
You can play real or fake.
You have to ask
I love real or
G-Star.
fake.
Oh, he has just
fun
finished
game.
putting together Real or Fake.
Yay! I love that game.
So we've got a round of Real or Fake. It's
I'm terrible at that game, but I love it.
I'm not competitive
You
about Real
you
or
get
Fake.
uber competitive, Monty.
Me? I don't.
You do.
Never. Don't believe it. Somebody else. So looking forward to that on Friday. Sitting back with a couple of beers and seeing what's been going on in the world of paranormal. I think I want to talk about maybe a little bit about the James Webb Telescope because I'm quite excited about that at the moment. But yeah, looking forward to that.
Did you see any of the fake photos going? Like, did you see these new shots from the James Webb Telescope, and it's actually just the opening of TNG? You know the bit where they go and they shoot through the solar system, and there's various things. And someone like, look at this new photo from the James Webb Telescope, and a few people are caught out going, "Oh, that's amazing." It's like, no, it's TNG. What do you? But
G-Star says we're
a
talking.
few people were at it. It was brilliant.
One of our main topic of conversation apparently is going to be ancient anomalies. At Astronomy Update. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. Real or fake? Got that sorted out. So yeah, looking forward to that on Friday.
Fun.
So you're telling me you won this week? Is that what?
Yeah, I feel really bad now, like beating out the Soong sisters. But I was like, my nose,
that.
and I put it in, and then I was like, I normally try not to win, but I just answered without thinking.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
I know. I was like, that's Data's nose.
I was trying.
The nose.
I was trying to
see
give
the nose.
Tavykins the clues as well. I mean, look at that side profile.
Oh my God,
And look
man,
at that hair at the back.
The Sung sisters. I like
I
that.
love that. Song sisters. What?
Mm.
It does
Oh,
sound like some sort of soul band in the Star Trek universe.
Sister, soul sister. Gotta be, this is having like one of them old school songs. Oof.
right.
G-Star says you've also got confessions from an ex-NASA employee.
Oh,
interesting.
yes.
But yes, Tavi and Panko ended on 300 points. And if Sean did get quarter points for that last one, then he actually had 310, so was just marginally in front of them, and I got 340 in the end.
Unfortunately, that does mean you alone are now in third place, and you've knocked everybody. You've knocked everybody out of the bronze spot.
Sorry, everybody.
You've claimed
Is
the bronze
Tavikin
spot.
still on silver?
Oh,
Yep,
yes.
and Stuplum's still in
Tavikin's-
gold.
Oh my goodness, Glenn, you better come back next time. He's loving me. Good night, Glenn.
Good night, Glenn. Yep. So, right, get your marks out of 10 for this episode in chat. Glenn, before you go, get your marks out of 10. What do you think of this episode? What would you score it out of 10 from 0 to 10? Get your scores in chat, and Maz and McBob will work out the average, and that'll be the audience score.
Yep.
And while
general
you're doing
reception,
that, I will
Ronald
get
D. Moore
my...
said it was a great, fun episode. Rick Berman said he was pleasantly surprised. Yeah, and as I say, Michael, was it Chabon? Watched this episode several times whilst writing the first season of Star Trek Picard.
There's actually, on TNG, there was a Ronald D. Moore and there's a Ronald B. Moore. I only found that out recently.
Yeah.
And I just think how confusing that must have been.
And there was also a Michael Moore in like the prop department.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Michael
was.
Moore, Michael Westmore.
Mm.
Yeah, that.
It's very confusing.
Well, I saw a great comic recently, and it's basically a guy walks into an office and he goes, "What's your name?" And he goes, "Robert." He goes, "Congratulations, you get the job." And then it pans out and it says Star Trek Voyager casting department, because there was 3 Roberts on the show. There's Robert Duncan McNeil, Robert Picard, and Robert Beltran.
Yes. Okay, so you ready, guys, for your scores? 3.
I'm ready.
Are you all ready? 3, 2.
Are you writing it?
Oh, he's right. He's got a... Yeah.
Oh, it's down.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm not biased.
Okay, it's not picking it up, but I'm going for 7.
7 for you.
I'm holding it up, but just the thing just doesn't get it. Yeah.
Panko, you traitor!
Yep, Panko, G-Star, and Andrew all said 9.
Was it 9 for you, Maz? Was it? Or 8?
I was an 8.
Right.
I was kind of like, I wanted to give it an 8.5, but I was like, is it a 9?
Yes,
it's difficult. I think it's up there. I wish I could have given it an 8.5.
Well, you know what? I'm going to bump
been
up
here
to
for the
8.
brother.
I'm going to bump up to 8. You've convinced me.
Ruth's gone for 8 as well. Okay, then.
Dare you, Ruth?
Stu Plum's gone for a 9 as well. So that's 1,
Block
2,
Ruth. She's
3,
an AI.
4, 5, 6.
G-Star says, Sean,
So
you're
we
sacked.
Divide that by 6. So that's 8.666 in chat. So that makes it a 9 on average in chat then.
9, right.
Yeah.
So that makes it...
Oh, we've not got a Tavikins.
No,
column.
no.
Oh,
You still don't have one for me?
Oh,
No.
it'll still be 9, won't it? Because I
Yeah.
didn't actually add
You were supposed to add me last
Tavikins'
week.
10
Oh,
on,
all right.
but that would still make it average
Add
at
me
9.
last week.
I will add you for when we get back after the summer break. Don't worry, you'll be
I'm
added
put
then.
out.
No, you'll
Well,
be
He's
there.
going to give you the cold shoulder look.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Well, again, it's a bottle episode. Well, for the most part, okay, they showed the bridge of the Romulan ship just barely, and it's a reuse of a set. But it's mostly a bottle episode.
Is it
But,
though?
yeah,
well, there
Because
were, like,
they
4
did
new
have
sets.
they did have the
Yes, okay,
arboretum, the
Barbershop.
barbershop, the
Okay,
Nursery.
Yeah, fair
Nursery.
point.
I mean, all right, it's a bottle episode, but I think they used this bottle episode to really expand the Enterprise and make it feel bigger.
Yeah,
A bit like you were saying
the
about
Arboretum.
pilots, you know, they kind of used this episode and its budget to grow the Enterprise some more and make it feel more bigger and complex. But
Yeah, well, the replicator center, we never see it again. But once you know it exists, you can, that expands it in people's minds. So yeah, in that respect, and the arboretum they do use a few times, but essentially it's the cargo bay sets with a few blue backdrops and a few plastic trees thrown in. It's not too complicated,
It's
and a
not
few tight
bad.
angles. So it's not really a new set. The barbershop is a new set, and it is done it's done like a play. I didn't mention it earlier, but like the walls it shows is kind of like this kind of shape. It's kind of at 30-degree angles. It's not like a real room that's at 90-degree angles. It's set up like a stage. Like when you go to see a play, the walls kind of go at like an angle out like that, and It's just something you notice when you've seen productions of shows, and it's kind of like, yeah, that's a set. But again, it's a small set, and they only shot it from one fixed angle. But still, it is a new set. I have to agree.
G-Star was saying Tabikins will have to sort of provide her scores for the previous season. I think you've been watching or on for a good sort of 6 or 7 episodes, but I don't know if you knew about us right at the beginning of the season, so you might have to just pass a few scores forward. Oh yeah, you could just change the average, couldn't you? Just average by 3 or 4, depending on whether we have your score or not. That's a good point.
I'll go in. I'll give you, Monty. I'll send you my score if you can get it in.
Right.
Maybe sometime, whenever.
I've done it. So yeah, I need your scores for Best of Both Worlds Part 2.
Best of Both Worlds Part 2. Isn't that the one with Locutus?
You're gonna have to send me all those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can give you all that right now. You ready to go?
Got him. I'll do it later. But you're here now. Look, we've got your column. It's all set up, ready to go. So
thank you.
Your very own column. Don't say we never get you anything.
It means because we have this is the one episode we do have Tavi score in. It means that this one's now gone through the roof.
It is correct.
The rest
that
depending.
is represented properly.
This is good representation, Tav, about this season.
Once Data in it for more than 3 minutes, okay, it's a 10.
Ruth and Mazza, this space is for you.
Well, G-Star says if you score all of the Data ones really high and all of the Worf episodes really low, you'll be a really good replacement for him, Tavonna, because that's what G-Star used to do.
That's true. It's true.
I'm not a fan of the Worf episodes, though, to be honest. So me and G-Star, we can hang.
I know, and I mean, I never used to sort of score the Data episodes as high as G-Star, which used to irk him, and then he'd score all the Worf episodes low, which used to irk me. So yeah,
well,
if
I'm
you
irked
do that
now, Mazda. I'm irked now. You have irked me.
You're irked at my 8.
He wouldn't be my favorite as a character, but the thing about him is that through him we've expanded Klingon lore so much from just being these thugs that enslave races to this whole Bushido code that we have. And even in the new trailer, he's got a new weapon on his back. It's called a Kurleth or something. We don't know much about it, but he actually has a new sword. Essentially, it's not a batlet, it's not a mechlet. It's a whole new thing. So they're still using them to expand Klingon lore. So from that respect, you have to like them.
G-Star, you'll appreciate this. The other thing that I found very satisfying, the preview of Worf, and in front of him it says Kentucky for Ga because he looks.
Oh yeah, with his white beard.
Like General Sanders.
He does.
Oh, the trailer
Colonel
for
Sanders,
Picard.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kentucky
I've seen that
Fried
pop
Ga.
up on a few of the groups.
You know you are a Trek nerd when something like that tickles you, even in the slightest.
Right. I've probably got so many tabs open that I'm starting to suffer with some lag. So
You must have a fairly decent rig over there with the amount of tabs you have. And the
I'm
OBS
just
and everything else.
getting that all shut off. There we go. Who wants to see the trailer for not next week's episode, but for episode in 4 weeks' time? Yes.
Go for it.
Let's have a look. I have to share it via the Chrome tab.
I haven't even checked what episode this is.
It's The Wounded.
How much data is in it? We
A
need to
Federation
start. I'm about to start
starship on a
providing the
merciless
average
attack.
time when
You
things
have killed nearly 700 people.
A Starfleet renegade on the brink of madness.
We had to act now.
Picard must destroy his fellow officer to stop a war.
You must preserve the peace, no matter what the cost.
He turns weapons on a Federation starship to protect the enemy?
Starfleet Showdown on the next exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Ooh. First the Romulans, then the Cardassians.
The Cardassians are coming next time. It's a good episode. That is a really good episode. I like that episode.
Super exciting trailer.
Once again, our favourite Cardassian is here. Ducat. Well, it's not. It's not.
Call him a set.
Yeah, not Ducat.
Mark Alamo.
Mark Alamo.
It's Mark Alamo. Just call him a set. He also played a in the episode where they go back in time to like Mark Twain's time, he plays a card player in that as well. But yeah, he plays Gulmaset, who has these weird sideburns that thankfully we never see again.
No, it's kind of it's like a, I don't know, it's like a helmet you wear, like playing.
Oh, the helmets, yeah.
It's
the
like,
helmet things.
yeah, they got these like weird helmet things, like if you're playing like rugby.
Do you know what it looks like?
Teenager or something.
Do you know the kind of dog toy that looks like a rugby ball, but it's kind of like just that shape of 4? You know, it's just like
4
bars. It looks like one of those where you just cut off the bottom bar and just stuck it on your head. Yeah, they were thankfully they didn't last long, and they upgraded the uniforms. But they kept Mark Alamo. That was the good part. And I think this is the episode where you saw Chief O'Brien's PTSD from the Setlick Tree thing and Rutledge, and you know they 2 big O'Brien episodes in a row for some reason, whatever way they were writing it. But it's a good one.
It's a good one.
Oh, we got enough in for a chat shot. We don't encourage anything, but theirs was a 10 for smart blocked the mess. Go ahead and add that in.
What was this from Naked? Naked
say
AI. Oh yeah. Shh. And I'm wondering, like Panko, I think, did you join for Brothers? I assume you're only going to join us on the data-centric episodes, right?
No, it's also when she's in Canada. She's working.
Oh, bless.
She was not here for Brothers. Girl, I got on here because I saw Brothers, and I was like,
because I know that Panko joined a few weeks ago, and that was sort of quite data-y, and then there's not been much data for the last few weeks, and she's been absent, and now she's back again today.
I've tried.
You're most welcome.
I've tried to fit as much data in it as I can possibly fit in.
Yeah.
I've tried my best.
I can send you photos to fill in. You know.
Unrelated.
Panko said she missed out on Brothers and cried.
We should redo it.
Well, we still have the send.
How about you let me, if you give me the permission to run this live stream, we'll just do a reboot while you guys are on holiday for the next few weeks. So every week I can just get on and we can go over data lore and Measure of a Man and Law is done.
Work, Panko, isn't it? It's like work gets in the way of life, really.
Stupid
it's
work.
Annoying.
Well, we still have Descent to look forward to, and it's a 2-parter.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, and Inheritance.
Yeah, and a fistful of datas.
That, I'm sorry, that always sounds like a porno to me. I just can't hear that.
And Nemesis, if we get to the films.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Andrew says, good review, guys. Thank you. Andrew.
You're welcome, Andrew. You're
Hope
welcome.
you enjoyed your holiday. We have missed you the last few weeks, but
Yes.
glad you're back.
We'll be back. I better get the date right. When will we be back? That's a good question.
Ooh, let's start the new show. Have it called The Spinal Sisters. Oh, that sounds even.
1, 2, 3, 24th.
24th, yes. We'll be back on the 24th of August with The Wounded. So yeah. If you're around on Saturday afternoon, we'll probably be talking about the Fistful of Datas over on Subspace Chatter. So feel free to join us there. And if you want more of us, then feel free to join us on Friday for some talk about UFOs and the paranormal. But apart from that, it's time to go. So thank you to Tavikins Turner, Sean O'Sullivan, and Mazmat Bob. And thank you to everyone in chat.
Pleasure.
Thank you to G-Star Supremo.
I'm trying to do a Vulcan salute.
Supreme,
I thought you were doing a Rimmer.
Happy, Kaz, Duplum,
do the Rimmer.
Panko,
Naked
Claudia,
HD XYZ.
Bigfoot.
Let me hear that song.
I think that's everybody.
Anyway, we'll see you.
Find a sister soon, sister.
Yes.
There you go, Sean. You can do it. There you go.
Hold on.
Very good.
Rimmer.
And the Rimmer.
Oh, sorry, it's that way.
That way. There you go.
That's how you do it.
That's the one.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers, everyone. See you next time.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.
Hi, folks.